Muted. Okay. All right, guys. Mic should be fixed. Mic should be fixed. Man, I always do something wrong, bro. Nah, okay. We're set. We fix it. All right. So, now we're set. We already got almost 30 people watching. And everybody's set. And we're all good now. All right. So, see? Can't hear your beautiful voice, Vocab Malone. All right. I took care of it. All right, so G Kon, you're visiting from Phoenix. You're visiting Phoenix from St. Louis, and most people know you, but tell people where to find your channel and stuff like that, man.
You can find me on G and then space consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Consciousness is spelled with a K. You know, I'm an urban apologist. You know, been doing work with Vocab. For how long now? About
2016. 15?
You know what? I don't know. Probably around that time.
16.
Yeah, 16. You know, we've been doing work together. Before then, you know what I'm saying? I was getting out here, out here working a little bit, so finally got a chance to come out to Phoenix and get up a Vocab. Vocab came to St. Louis before. We didn't get a chance to meet that time, but then we met up in Chicago with Sister Cherry, so we did a little work out there. So, I'm out here in St. Louis. out here in Phoenix now. I'm sleepy, and as you can see, he made me some coffee. A
4-shot hazelnut mocha latte.
So I'm trying to liven up a little bit.
You don't want to yawn on camera.
Right.
All right, let me brighten this up a little bit. All right, how's that look? You think that's good?
Yeah, it looks.
Is that a good level? I'm gonna brighten this up a little bit. All right. I think we look pretty good now. All right, so we're going to have to be kind of loud because we only got one mic between the both of us. Can you guys all hear us now? If we talk, let us know because we want it to be laid back and all that. We'll see. So, what'd you do today, G Kon?
Basically, I went and I had some, what'd I have? Some Wingstop.
Yeah, I dropped him off at the Hood Wing stop.
Yeah, I stayed lazy at the truck stop for a little bit, and then he came and got me. You know what I'm saying? And he was like he wanted to get some sleep, so I was like, well, you can drop me off at the movies because I want to check out a movie. You know what I'm saying? So before I went, I got me some Wingstop. You know what I'm saying? And kicked it a little bit. Watched the movie. I watched the Escape Room. It was pretty good.
The Escape Room.
Yeah, I was trying to go to sleep. But, on the way to going to sleep, it got real good, so I stayed up. About an hour and 40-minute movie, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-oh. Look, already Rogan Black wants to know.
Oh, nah, I don't rap, you know what I'm saying? I leave that to Vocab. I don't rap,
All right.
That's Vocab.
So what you been talking about lately on your channel, G Kon, if people go there?
Okay, today, mainly I've been talking about the Gentiles as being non-Israelites. And also God's blessing for the Gentiles, me being a Gentile. And then also, I talked about today the law because, you got these guys that's coming in and, they want to talk about the law of Moses and talk about we're not under the, New Testament. The New Testament hasn't started yet. So, brother got to deal with that a little bit, So that's what I've been on. So if you go check out my latest video, I did it earlier today. That's another thing I did a video today concerning the law. I hit that Galatians up, a little bit of Romans here and there, and what was it, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, getting off into the,
So what do you think I should do with my mustache?
I think you should get your stuff together like mine or something. You need to get it right like mine, you know what I'm saying? But, so, you got the Mario mustache.
Hey,
you get you a bird, you be right.
Look what Adam said. He said, G Kon can rap. He's just whack.
Yeah, I used to listen to you, but I'm going to go on and put you on mute for about 7 days, and I'm going to let you back out there.
MJ said, what's up, y'all? What's good, G Kon of Vocab?
What up, MJ? What's going on?
Hey.
Yeah, this brother got books from downstairs all the way to upstairs. This boy got a library here,
Yeah, man.
And then also, listen, I met up with him yesterday. He's been giving me all books. I got at least about 7 books, a couple of his rap CDs, but I got some stuff that I really wanted, and he he was like, huh, know what I'm saying? So I got a couple of them books. I didn't even ask the brother, you know what I'm saying? But I'll take it, you know what I'm saying? Gladly.
He can read them while he's driving his truck. Shave, cut, massacre it. Vocab. And then Adam is laughing. And then here's a channel you should check out, by the way. Black Hebrew Israelism Critiqued. It's a new channel. Shout out to him.
Oh, you know what? He was on my. He was on today on my. He was on the feed today.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was, but he was in there today. I'm gonna check you out. I'll subscribe to your page, brother.
And then somebody says I need to go full Duck Dynasty or get some chin music going. But then someone else says, Roxby, shout out to you. A mustache is a trademark now.
Right.
True Spitter wants to know, Vocab Malone, are you Jewish, sir? So, by the way, here's what we're doing tonight, y'all. We're kind of just kicking it. We're just getting together because he's in town. And we're going to kind of discuss a few apologetic topics, like what's going on. And then take your guys' questions. So, we take questions as they come. So, here's the first question. Vocab Malone, are you Jewish, sir? Oh, he said, sir. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. So, there's a whole Hebrew Israelite thing out there where they look up my last name and realize that there are some this is on my father's side, some German Jews with the same last name. Now, this is something my dad knew years ago, right? And so my dad went down a whole rabbit trail back in the day to try to figure out if we were German Jewish. I think my dad was hoping we were, because he knew there was some German Jews with that same last name. Well, at the end of the trail, my dad went down talking to different family members and looking up stuff like that. He was sad to report that we weren't Jewish, that the German side was just German. But then, just recently, he did some more research and found out that some of the German side is actually French. Because I guess at some point, someone in our distant past, like we're talking in the 1800s now, left France and came over to Germany. And so some of the German side, I guess, is actually French folks living in Germany. So apparently got a little bit of French. Now, if I had Jewish blood of any type, Sephardic, Yemenite, Ashkenazi, whatever it was, I wouldn't be embarrassed about it. So some of the Hebrew Israelites will be like, oh, Vocab is a crypto Jew. He's actually secretly Jewish. If I was, I wouldn't be embarrassed or ashamed because I don't think it's anything to hide, right? I'm not like a Hebrew Israelite. Like, I think it's stupid that to do urban apologetics with Hebrew Israelites, you even have to talk about your family's lineage. It's a really dumb requirement. But since Hebrew Israelites care about it, I'll talk about it because it's not really, it don't matter to me, really. Now, I'm like most part Italians, though. If you ask any part Italian in the world, almost to a person, what they are, they're gonna say Sicilian or Italian. Meaning, if you're half Italian, you just say you're Italian. That's kind of how it goes. It's like that Italian blood is thick like pasta sauce, and the idea is like that's what you're most proud of. So I'm that way. So when a person asks me what I am, I just say Sicilian. I'm not full-blooded 100% Sicilian. People can know that once they look at my last name. But that's a normal thing. And so it's not hiding it, because I've said openly, again, it's dumb to have to talk about it, but no, I'm not Jewish that I've ever been able to ascertain or know, and that's just a reality.
Let me say something to that, too, because I got a couple of cousins that have, ashkenazi, and you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, a lot of blacks of America, I would say, some of these guys, the ones who were slaves of some Jewish people, Sephardic Jews that came over here, because they did come over here, they starting to find out genetically that they have some type of probably like 1 or 2% of Ashkenazi, you know what I'm saying? And majority of blacks in America have at least around 14% European in them. Most of them from 14 to 29% European in them. I got 14. So if you do a DNA test, then you see that you got a guy out here just saying that he's R1b. His haplogroup is R1b, and the origin of that R1b comes from out of Europe. So you do that DNA test, you might have a little swab here and there. There's a guy, who was that guy in New Mexico?
Oh, yeah.
This guy in New Mexico. Was it New Mexico? Or what
Are you talking about the Catholic priest?
Yeah.
That was Hispanic, and then he found out he was Sephardic Jewish. It was either New Mexico or Mexico, one of the two.
Yep, he found out that. So
that's a famous story.
But I got a cousin. She got a couple of K and T markers. You know what I'm saying? So autosomally speaking, and so those markers arise up out of the Middle East. So I got like 2% Native American. So go take the test. Go take the test. That's what I say.
Oh man, don't you know that all those companies are owned by Jews? That's what they say, by the way. That's what they say. All right, check this out real quick. Hey, moderators, tonight, because G Kon's here, we might have some nasty Hebrews who like to stop by. But sometimes I do stuff based upon hard and fast rules. Other times I do stuff based upon my mood. So tonight's mood is let Hebrew Israelites say whatever and don't remove them unless I specifically tell you. So, because I want to see how much they control themselves without being controlled. Meaning, if we don't put the heavy hand on the moderation, let's see how they act for a little bit. So, for now, moderators, let whoever slide and let's see what comes out their mouths. All right? So, that's where we're at. If you guys kind of be flexible with me on the rules. Already, though, we got solving the race problem says G Kon in here skinning and grinning.
Right. And so let me make this clear.
Hey, wait. Look at this. Ask G Kon if his favorite animal is a raccoon.
Right.
See, so already.
Hey, look, this guy solving the race problem is the worst guy that there is. Well, he cool, but listen, I beat him in the debate.
He's cool, but he's the worst guy there is.
I beat him in the debate, right? And guess what the topic was?
How to solve the race problem?
No, he wasn't trying to solve the race problem at all. He was actually the product of what we call white supremacy. He's the product that come up out of that.
You can tell because he's obsessed with it.
Yeah, because he tried to counter white supremacy with black supremacy. Right, you know what I'm saying? But here's the crazy thing. We had a debate, and the topic was, do white and black people have the same nature?
Oh, for real?
And look what he said, though. He said that he would rather have a Barabbas that is black rather than a righteous white person to be over him. And I'm looking like...
What do you mean be over him?
Well, not be over him to... If he was to loose or to side with somebody, basically.
Oh, right. Who's he going to roll with?
He would roll with a wicked person that is black over a righteous person that is white because he believes that white people don't have a good nature.
Inherent, yeah.
Right, so...
Well, he is right about that. White people do not have a good nature.
Right, so...
But guess who else doesn't have a good nature? All humans.
All humans, right.
I'm about to bust out Romans 3 in a second. So, but go ahead.
And so that's the thing. He's saying that basically that white people cannot be, well, that was the whole thing of the thing of that. You know what I'm saying? That was with that. So that's all with that.
So you know who this guy is solving the race problem?
Oh yeah. He's a clown, but we'll pray for him. We're gonna pray for you because his thing is to counter. He wants to counter white supremacy, and he's trying to use that in a wrong way. Like it makes no sense. He's birthed out of that very system. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
Oh shoot! Black Hebrew Israelism dropping to 20. Hey, much love to you. Again, go ahead and drop your info in there, Black Hebrew Israelism Critiqued, and tell people to subscribe to your channel because I see you coming up and stuff like that. So go ahead. And yeah, for now we're gonna allow language if they do it. Hey, MJ Jackson says, G Kon, according to Brother Keston, you got that 14%. All right.
Who is that? Who said that?
He's just joking. It's MJ.
Oh, what's up? What's up, MJ? Yeah, I thought that was what's called. Yeah.
Oh, Dinu dropping a 2. Love you and your blood in a non-vampire way, obviously. Hey, I'm glad. You know what, Dinu? I'm glad that you're willing to be weird like that. Keep it up. All right. I can't find your other comment, but she was saying that she watched. There it goes. Shout out to True ID. Everyone subscribe to him too. He's the complete apologist. Most of us just have a couple tools. Adam Coleman, a True ID, he has all the tools. He's that complete package. Plus he's tall. Most of us aren't very tall. So shout out to Adam Coleman. And Dinu says, I watched your video you did on Titans TV. So good. Thank you. Later on we might mention Titans TV a little bit.
What video?
She's talking about Adam Coleman was on there.
Okay, yeah.
Adam Coleman be dropping bombs, man. He knows how to...
Yeah, Adam Coleman get busy, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the best. He's one of them, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the best.
G Loves Jesus says, why would you want your father to be a Jew?
Who said that?
Gia Loves Jesus. Well, okay, remember, Gia, this is my father saying this, right? And I think part of the reason, to be honest with you, is because my pops is partly a dispensationalist, like G Kon here. And so he looks at the Jews a certain kind of way. I'm not a dispensationalist. And so for me, I'm kind of like, it's all good either way. However, to be honest, I do still wish I was part Jewish. You know why? Just to troll the Hebrew Israelites. I wish I was part Jewish just so they could get extra mad. I wish I was part Jewish just to make the Hebrews like a little bit extra saucy. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately I'm not, so I can't troll them at that next level. But if I ever find out I am, hey, y'all bring it out, guy. And I'll let you know real quick so you can get extra mad. All right, Bento says, would you consider doing a live stream with Brother Colin from Islam Critique YouTube channel? Probably. I've never seen him do a live stream. He's a dope dude. I like his stuff and all that, but I got to see how he does a live stream. To be honest, maybe I should do a live stream on his channel so he can work out his kinks, and then he can come on once he's got his stuff down polished. You know what I'm saying? How about that? I have a guy debating me on Vocab's Darwin video, so I'm getting distracted, Kim McCracken says. So let's talk about that real quick. So the reason I dropped the video on the fossil record and evolution yesterday is because I knew today was going to be a special day. What's today, G Kon?
It's Darwin's Day, right?
Happy Darwin's Day!
You know.
So how do you celebrate Darwin's Day? What do you think is a good way?
Well, you know, if I wasn't with you, I would be trolling them. You know what I'm saying? I would go in there and listen to all the debates.
But I'm saying if we're going to celebrate it the way it's meant to be celebrated. For example, maybe you go, euthanize a couple people in a vegetative state. You know what I'm saying? Survival of the fittest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of a way to celebrate Darwin's Day. Maybe, what's another way? Maybe kill a couple endangered species, animals or something.
All right. No, you can't, some.
I'm just kidding.
So.
Someone's going to think I'm serious,
right,
bro.
Right. But,
I'm just saying, how should we celebrate Darwin's Day since might makes right and says survival of the fittest? I was just trying to think what's a fitting way, you know what I mean, to celebrate it.
We gotta get before these guys and get in there and maybe troll a little bit and deal with the information to where we make this day really hard for them because we show that it's a bad philosophy. Yeah. And it has some good science in it, but there is some falsified stuff that we got to be looking at just as well, too. But, To
the evolutionists watching, we love you guys, and please don't take my jokes too serious. Some of y'all get too hardcore about it. I'm just making some jokes. Gia says, define dispensationalist. All right, so here's what I'll do. A dispensationalist, in the classic sense, has a number of dispensations of the way that they believe God moves and interacts. And I resonate with that aspect of dispensationalism because I believe there's progressive covenants. And so I prefer covenant over dispensation. However, there is a couple places in certain translations where a Greek word is used in English, gets translated as dispensation. So that's where it comes from. And the idea is sort of the way God moves. And so the idea is that God is dealing with Israel in the Old Testament in that dispensation. And now is the age of the church. But once the rapture happens, then God's going to deal with Israel again. And that's part of dispensationalism. And dispensationalism in general has a view of the church that is not completely the same as my view. Because while they have the church being God's people now, they still would have ethnic Jews in a certain sense as defined as God's people. And so they think there's, I think, significance to national Israel that most non-dispensationalists don't find. I mean, you help me out. So you're kind of a dispensationalist, right?
Right. And so, like I say,
let me go grab a book. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So dispensation is basically a stewardship, I'm saying administration, or what we say a probation period on how God deals with, individuals historically, presently, and also in the future. And so when we start looking at it, there's different we got the 7 dispensations of man. God dealing with man in the historical past and presently, and also in the future, on into in eternity. And so what it is it's basically just an administration, rather of a time period of a long space of time, which we see eternity, or a short space of time. How God begins to deal with Israel and also humans in general during these times. Like the first one is the dispensation of innocence. When man was innocent before he became guilty. Then you have the dispensations of conscience. When man began to become conscious or aware, and also conscience, aware of sin, and or conscience, to where he has this joint knowledge, to where he has a moral faculty, the knowledge of good and evil, basically, which is a moral faculty. And so it's summing it up that fast, you know what I'm saying? But I did a show on Sal's Showtime. Shout out to Sal. It's called The 7 Dispensations of Man. And in those dispensations, there's like 9 points that there's 2 or 3 of them that you don't really need to remember. But what's God's purpose? How God tested man, or the outcome of it, and the judgment, and then God's redemptive act within that that dispensation. But to make it short, it's just really dealing with administration, period of time, rather of a probationary period. But basically, how you should be a steward with that administration.
And so I'm not a dispensationalist, but if I had to choose between what's called classic dispensationalism and progressive dispensationalism, I choose the school of thought that's called progressive. But I don't choose either. I choose something called progressive covenantalism. And so Darrell Bock and some of those guys at Dallas Theological Seminary have done some good work on making dispensationalism, I think, a little more biblical. But I think probably a big difference with a dispensationalist and someone like me is dispensationalists hold, at least everyone I ever know of, to a rapture that is secret, in the sense of the church gets snatched out of the world for 7 years, and then you have a tribulation, and then God kind of deals with Israel, and then comes back with the church. In my understanding, which is called historic premill, which is not a dispensationalist position, I don't hold to that rapture doctrine. So that'd probably be a big difference, right?
Right. And all through the time, God is really dealing with Israel, because we see that what takes place before the 7-year tribulation. But during that time, he mainly deals with Israel, but all through that time, he's still dealing with the whole world overall, concerning them coming to Christ, but using Israel mainly as an instrument at that time, even in their rebellion, to get people to turn and get their life into the Christ.
Darwin Day, what that is, everybody, I see a couple people asking, it's Darwin's birthday. So evolutionists will celebrate Darwin Day on his birthday, basically. True Spitter. No, it's not you only get one question answered, but let me get some other ones, and we'll try to get back with you, okay? Here, Adam Coleman got a good way. To celebrate Darwin's Day, you got to shoot a panda bear, then go oppress somebody who is weaker than you are. Right. Hey, that sounds like an average day for a white person. So white guys out with their guns and a pitcher.
Is it deer season or what is it?
I don't know. I don't think it's panda season, though. Come on, guys, man. We
shoot an elk. They got elks here. You go down 17, they got them elks. They say, look out for them elks.
He said he can celebrate Darwin Day by finding myself a missing link. If I'm a missing wallet while you're at it. So.
All right.
Oh, Nate, you going crazy. You talk about 3-style. He's trying to get a 3-style. All right.
Who's that? Oh, yeah. Nate.
That's my man, Nate. He's real crazy. Yeah. I was just surprised by the almost silence of the lamb jokes. Who made a silence of the lamb joke? Somebody make a... Jason Manning says, well, bro, you got to work on your spelling.
You do have some reformed dispensation.
John MacArthur.
Yeah, you do.
It's not dispensationalist, though. That's a new rap group with a dispensationalist. So, I just kidding. Yo, dispensationalist, most of them are not reformed, but a lot of the guys who come out of Dallas Theological Seminary they're the exception to the rule. Most Reformed folks are some variety of covenantal theology, which non-covenantals call replacement theology, but we don't call it that. dispensationalists are generally not reformed, but the exception is the MacArthur kind of camp, and then DTS folks. And then he asked about Arminians, but you put Armenian, which is an ethnic group, not a theological position, but most of them are Arminians. Who are some dispensationalist authors you like? Because even though I'm not a dispensationalist, I don't hate on my dispensational brothers, just like I don't hate on Tony Tabano. So who are some dispensationalists you recommend, bro?
Well, I myself, and I don't want people to get offended by this because they might will. But I deal with Phoenix Dakes Jr. You know what I'm saying?
Man, what you dealing with him for, man?
His books are pretty good. Now, whatever happened in the past,
he's racist, right?
Right. Well, that's what I've heard that. But when you really go back and you really do the study, that's
Man, you ain't hashtag woke at all,
right.
bro.
But his books is pretty good. Now, they did say some racist stuff. You know what I'm saying? Say that he said some racist stuff, but I don't know. But
in his study Bible, he's even got it. Check this out. Let me help you, my dispensationalists out there. If you want to read solid, good dispensational authors, read Darrell Bock, Darrelbock, when he writes on dispensationalism. Because what he's done is he's taken the position and made it a lot more thorough and less weak, in my opinion. Because dispensationalists, when they came out, a lot of them were strictly fundamentalist. And in my opinion, was a lot of proof texting, not very deep. And then you have popular or lay-level dispensationalism, like Tim LaHaye. I'm not dissing everything that they did or whatever, but a lot of it is sort of like pop level, so it only goes so deep. Again, I am not a dispensationalist. I'm just telling you, if you want to read the best of the best, read anyone associated with Darrell Bock and the stuff he's done. He has a main co-author. Who is it? Is it Robert Saucy? I forget who his main co-author is. He has a lot. But again, I don't hold to that position, but I respect my brothers and sisters who do.
I would say this. There is a book that's called God's Plan for Man, right? By Phoenix Dakes Jr. That is one of the first books that I ever got from him. That book is awesome because that book will show you about when you're talking about the things of the law, all types of manner of things. It talks about, God's overall plan for man. That book is tough. Also, Revelation Expounded. That if you want to talk about eschatology and stuff like that, because I do have the Dakes what is it, the Bible, which I
Dakes Study Bible.
Bible. That book has the commentary, has the Greek in it. It also has the whatever you need is in that book. So even though we see what happened in the past, it's still a good study Bible. And everything that you need is in that text.
And the other best person, if you want to read a good dispensationalist, in my opinion, would be stuff by John MacArthur. But again, I don't agree with those guys, so I would tell you to read some other books. But whatever. MJ Jackson wants to know what's Dr. Michael Brown's position. Do you know what it is?
Michael Brown got a little dispensationalist in him, but I wouldn't say fully. But he deals with some stuff with some dispensationalism. I've watched him say certain things. But his study is more so on Near Eastern, customs and, he and the language, I'm saying. That's what he deals with. But Michael Brown, not Michael Brown. You said, I'm talking about Michael, I'm thinking Michael Heiser.
Oh, this guy.
I don't know Michael Brown's position.
I think he is. I think he holds to a rapture view.
Yeah. I don't think he holds to a rapture view, to be honest, because I've heard him say stuff on Daniel to where he kind of was like, really, if some people hold to a rapture and certain things or whatever, because we put certain things there, I don't think he holds to a rapture view for some reason.
Now I see Mark and Gia saying that dispensationalism is the only way. Now check this out. I ain't hating, nothing like that. But let me just ask you this. Have you ever looked into argumentation for different eschatological views with any seriousness? And if you haven't, it's okay, but I recommend against a surefire certainty, because if you haven't really heard the arguments, then you're saying something, to be honest, out of a position of lack of information. And so I hear you, but I think the more you study eschatology, this is my view, I think you become more humble. You should, because you realize throughout the history of the church, there's been a variety of views. In fact, dispensationalism itself, especially the secret rapture view, to my understanding, is pretty recent development within the past 200 or 300 years. That doesn't mean it's wrong. Okay, that's just saying that historically wasn't was held by a majority of the church, right? A lot of the Puritans were a variety of post-millennial. A lot of they may have been amill. You got a lot of folks being amill like Augustine, but then you have the historic pre-mill position. And so, anyways, let me recommend a book if you want to hear the other side. Let me see if this shows up on my phone. A Case for... It ain't going to show up on my phone. A Case for Historic Premillennialism, an Alternative to Left Behind Eschatology. Edited by Craig Blomberg and Soon Wook Chung. That's a good book to kind of get you started on historic pre-mill, and I'll also offer a healthy critique of what they call the left behind eschatology, which is dispensationalism. But we're not here to, do all that. Hey, you want to deal with this question?
What is it? Okay, so...
all right, well, here, let me put it on the screen. You want to? Okay. I'll hand you a Bible. Go ahead.
All right, so I got one right here.
You got to hold the book in your hand, brother.
Okay, so...
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding, man. Do whatever you want.
So the ashkenazi thing, what is it? It says Genesis 10:3 says ashkenazi
came from Gomer. Can you guys go over this quick?
Okay. All right, so I kind of know what it's getting at as far as like the Ashkenazi Jews and stuff like that, but
here's a one thing is see, the problem with a lot of this is, man, it gets real speculative, man. Mm-hmm. When you start going back like this, for example, this is the Henry Moore Study Bible, and he notes Togarmah is probably the ancestor of the Armenians, whom we brought up earlier. The Jewish Targums, they say that Germany was derived from that word, Togarmah. And then the name may have a connection with Turkey and Turkestan. So let me actually read the verse. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphtah, and Togarmah. That's what the passage says right there. Right.
And so basically, what it is like he is a son of Japheth. Ashkenaz is. And so it's really based upon the geographical location where they located at, and then we see the migration of these people. And so a lot of them, they spoke an Indo-European language just as well. But for the most part, because most people get confused because they might see that it say Ashkenazi Jews. Well, it's the same thing when you look at Acts chapter 2. You go to verse 7, and it says, "And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? It says, and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, and dwellers of Mesopotamia, and Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus, and Asia." So you have all of these different names of all of these different Jews or Israelites that we see, but they're speaking a native tongue as the geographical areas that they're in. And so just because you see an Ashkenazi Jew, you would say, well, that's the son of Japheth. Well, what that's saying is that these Jews migrated to that area and became what you call German Jews to this day. And so then they migrated, and then when they was brought back home, they kept the name as Ashkenazi Jews. Or when you even look at the Sephardic Jews that speak Ladino, is it Ladino or something like that?
I heard that term, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's Ladino. They speak Ladino. And so then you got the Jews that also speak a Yiddish, which is a Germanic, with Hebrew.
It almost sounds like German if you hear it.
Yeah.
Like when they say God and stuff, like it's like, that sounds like German.
Right. And so what happens is that they're calling them by these names. You have Parthian Jews. You have Elamite Jews. If you go back in the Old Testament, you have Assyrian Jews. You have Mizraim Jews, Moroccan Jews. And so, a lot of people tend to get caught up on the very name, and when it comes to the Ashkenazis and the Sephardim Jews. But when it comes to other Jews, they don't have a problem with that. And here, right in the Bible, it says that there are these different Jews. That Paul called himself a Roman. You know what I'm saying? And so,
So the problem is, again, once you go this far back, you're dealing with speculation, because just because something way far back there has a name doesn't necessarily mean anyone that's labeled under that name today is connected to it. You know what I'm saying? For example, pre-Spanish Mexico, which wouldn't have been called that, the people's makeup is different than it is now, because the Spaniards invaded it and changed it. And now you have like Spanish blood infused into all these native indigenous populations in what is now called Mexico, but that would have been a variety of different tribes at that time. And now some of what holds them in common is the infused Spanish blood. And so most Mexicans are what are called mestizo, which means a mixture of the European Spaniards and then one of the native groups there. And sometimes you'll run into folks who it seems have never got the European part in their ancestry. For example, there's something in Arizona called the Yaqui Indians, and they're kind of known to be a tribe that never really had the Spanish infusion of blood. But yet, you know, if you saw them, you might say, well, that person's of Mexican descent, which would be partially true, but it's very confusing. That's only in that's only in a period of like 500 years or something. My point is, going all the way back here and then saying, well, now Ashkenazi Jews, there's some relation to it. My understanding is the way the Ashkenazi Jews got the name is because of the word Ashkenaz association, and this is even in the Targums, I think from what I heard, there might be, well, hold on, someone's kind of association with Ashkenaz with Germany at some point, and so the idea is Jews who lived in Germany or those environs. Now, there's another note in my Bible that he mentions. Ashkenaz has long been associated with the German Jews, known still as the Ashkenazi. The name is also possibly preserved in the names of Scandia and Saxon, as well as the region of Armenia, once known as Sakasane. The thing is, like, everything's possible, maybe, because it's just difficult once you go back that far. For example, here's Riphtah in Genesis 10:3. And Josephus, he associates that name, Riphtah, with an ancient group of people called the Paphlagonians, which is difficult to pronounce. But it may be related to something else, Carpathia, and maybe even Europe may be derived from that. But this is just speculation, so I don't know, man.
Right. And so even with that, like for instance, even if that is the case, you know, it still should say that, look, these are Jews that are that are native to Germany, and we see that there's a trace back to the very word Germany traces back what they say to Ashkenaz. And so it's not saying that, okay, these are the sons of Japheth. Basically what it's saying is, as we just stated over in Acts chapter 2, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You got different Jews and manner of Jews that's off in these different areas. You got the Elamite Jews, which is, a son of Shem, right? He comes from Shem, Elamite. So, it's not really that difficult to really explain, when it comes to that.
Gerard Perry's offering some helpful comments. Thank you. Appreciate. Check this it. Oh, Claim Your Inheritance is up in here.
Yeah.
So what's up with him? Why is Claim Your Inheritance? Why does he talk this way?
He's been around for a long time. This brother has a lot of One West information.
Well, why is this how he? I never met him before, and this is how he talks.
This is how he talks. Like, he used to didn't talk like that, but as he continues to be around, well, I wouldn't say be around. As he continues to get older, he wants to use all this type of silly, foul language.
Why? It's funny. His avatar says decorum. And Claim Your Inheritance. Is this good decorum? You saying this?
Right.
Claim Your Inheritance. I know Sister Cherry. I guess I've never met you before, but the only time I've heard about you is when Sister Cherry, she says, claiming inheritance, his name... She says his name should be Claim Your Foolishness. And I'm not trying to go there with her, but maybe now I understand why, if this is how you talk when you first meet somebody.
Right, yeah. He's One West, and he knocked off, he took how people leave One West but take One West with them?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's one of those. He took One West with him, and so he has a lot of One West doctrine and false history. He had a debate about on what was it on Solar Vision Debate League. Shout out to Solar. He had a debate on there, and on that debate, he really debated the chart. His position was to defend the chart.
Well, he defended the chart?
He defended the chart.
You One West all the way then.
Yeah, he's One West all the way.
You're One West. You talk like One West and you defend their chart. You're One West.
So,
why deny you're One West? You're One West.
Right, and I think he lost that. Matter of fact, he did lose that debate.
You can't win defending that chart. Everyone's going to lose that debate.
He lost on that.
True Spitter says he's got to go, but it's funny. Remember the first time he asked the question? He was like, "Are you Jewish, sir?" Remember that? It only took 4 posts for his One West to come out. Now I got to go. Christianity, as you know, it is over. Christianity is triple over. True Spitter says. You know, True Spitter, it sounds like you're the one that's over because you're the one leaving. Christianity as you know it. You guys crack me up. Kaffir Linda Clark says, what's the topic, vocab? Hello, and God Jesus bless you, brother. We are just talking about various apologetic issues, and we're taking live questions. And also, I'm giving G Kon a gift. Oh, I already gave you a Quran,
yeah,
huh?
I got a Quran now.
I gave him a Quran last night,
right.
So he got his first Quran now.
So y'all know what that means, right? You can see me getting active against. You might see me probably on speakers corners this summer or something. You know, really going in a little bit.
David Ray says, what's one of your favorite study Bibles? Don't say Dake's Annotated Study Bible, bro.
Right, that's my favorite. You feel me?
Oh no,
that's
man.
That's my favorite.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, for the most part, I don't Whew. Like. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Can't be associated. With
I'm more so on. I'm more so on my phone using like Olive Tree or something like that.
Good.
Or
that's not ran by.
What is it?
That's not ran by racists.
All right. You know, either that or I'm on what is it? What is the other one? The Bible app, KJV Bible app.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so I'm at the point now to where like I don't even really, you know, I study so much stuff. It's not even really that no more. Like I don't really have a study Bible. Basically, I'm just like, you know.
To me, the best one, hands down, is the ESV Study Bible. Nah, check it out. It is true. We were talking about this earlier before we went live. Look, it's true it leans Reformed. But here's the thing. There's another Bible called the Reformation Study Bible. And that is Reformed, and it's distinctly Reformed. It's a great study Bible. But it only kind of gives that viewpoint or that perspective.
Right.
The ESV Study Bible is so thorough for a study Bible, it will even give other viewpoints a lot of times. And even in the study notes a lot of times, not all the time because it's a study Bible, but it'll even give other views and give you multiple views and understandings before, I mean, it's almost like a miniature commentary more than just a plain old study Bible. So even though it's Reformed leaning, all kinds of top scholars were involved with it. Some of the best scholars, like each person who did a commentary on each book, like the study notes, they are all experts on that book. So, like, if you get the MacArthur Study Bible, which is also decidedly Reformed and dispensationalist, you already know where it's going to go. But it's one person covering all of it. That's no slight against MacArthur. The ESV Study Bible, though, they get, for example, some of my professors, Paul Wagner offers commentary. Wayne Grudem does one of the study notes. John Del Husse does some of the study notes. These are, and it all says who did what in the front. And they're not even all Reformed. Like John Del Husse is not really 100% Reformed. But it's so solid. And then has all these articles in the back. Now, the problem is it's kind of big. But to me, the ESV Study Bible is thorough. It has like everything you want for a real study Bible. Cross-references are lit. The commentary is lit. The articles in the back. It's just dope. And the ESV, to me, is a real solid translation. Now, I gave you a study Bible today, though. I would recommend for maybe other people to get the Apologetics Study Bible.
Yeah, Apologetics Study Bible. Yeah.
So, that's a pretty decent one, too. That's downstairs sitting. We could have brought it up. But that's a Holman Christian Standard, and that has a variety of perspectives. So that's, if you're worried about something being too reformed, grab that Apologetic Study Bible instead. I recommend that. All right, so that, good question. Oh, check it out. Jesus the Word is up in here. Everyone also subscribe to his channel, and be sure to watch that video on Sarkari.
What up, Jesus is the Word?
Adam says, I just discovered the ESV, and I really like it. Awesome. Look, B. Garcia's up in the house.
BG in the building. What's going on, BG?
CSB Study Bible, good too. I believe you. I just don't know much about it. Michael Hernan, Vocab. What are your thoughts on Hinduism? I'm just playing with you, Michael. Okay, so with Hinduism, what I find is that if I make too many in-depth comments about it, later when I go back and study, I realize that some of the stuff I said was incorrect because I am not an expert in the Eastern religions yet. And I don't know if I ever will be. So I could offer a general overall worldview critique, but I wouldn't act like I'm the man on it. Just so you know, there's other people more equipped to do it. Now, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of polemicists against Hinduism. But I do have a guy in India, Glory Apologetics. I want to get him back on because he's really good on. That's my guy. Subscribe to his channel too. But I'll say real quick, Hinduism at its foundation level is self-contradictory. It's self-contradictory because it has everything being part of one, but then part of the goal of Hinduism is basically to have the one sort of redissolve back into the everything. And part of the way that happens is essentially you realize that you don't have self-identity. That whole process to me seems decidedly self-contradictory. For the I to discover that the I doesn't exist, how does the I discover that it doesn't exist if there's not an I there in the first place? I think it's also counterintuitive because a lot of what it teaches is essentially that reality is illusory. And the thing is that I don't find that to be practical or functional in the real world, meaning the top Hindu scientists and physicians and stuff, they don't operate as if reality is an illusion. The top Indian engineers, for example, who are Hindu, not saying all Indians are Hindu, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, I'm giving an example to kind of hone it in there. Because Hinduism is an ancient religion, it has a lot of influence on all places. In fact, New Age really is just Americanized Hinduism in a lot of ways. But they don't actually, I don't think, in any certain way, operate like reality is an illusion. I don't think that it actually has real world value, to be frank with you. And so there's a lot of problems in Hinduism at that worldview critique. I don't know if you have anything to offer on Hinduism.
No, I don't. Well, like I say, I don't really. I see that there may be certain things that that most people deal with today when it comes to in Kemet. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them be dealing with a lot of Hinduism and don't even know it. But otherwise, I don't really deal with it like that. But I see people really talking about it. But that's all I know about it. Just most people try to, you find out they use certain words and they talking about certain things, and it's really related to Hinduism instead of what they say is Kemet.
Hey, check this out. Bird Brings a Word asks, does Sarkari know they're named after those spy assassin group or whatnot?
Yeah, they know.
Yeah, they know. That's why they picked that name. In fact, some of their videos start off with some guy, some historian commentator, describing the Sarkari sect or something like that. And they purposely did that. They think that there's some kind of modern day parallel. Have you ever talked to them about that? You getting carried away in the comments, bro?
Yeah.
You getting distracted.
I've never talked to them about that, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you who I did talk to about that. The first time I learned about that was Josh. Josh from ABT.
Oh yeah.
Josh was going to do something on it.
Yeah.
And so he was telling me about it on the phone. I was like, I never knew that. And so he gave me the history of it.
Yeah.
And so he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened with that, but that was the first. And then once I started looking at them, making their little videos and looking at the Sakari and saying how the history, some of the history of it, that's when I was like, okay, I see.
Yeah, bro. Within Hebrew Israelism, you'll find almost every ancient heresy or ancient error within any kind of, quote, biblical religion repeated. For example, Pharisees. You find basically parallels to modern day Pharisees, where these guys say that we got to keep our culture by keeping the law, and then they act like they keep the law, and they condemn Gentiles, and yet they'll go all over to make a proselyte in the sense of somebody who doesn't realize they're an Israelite, supposedly. That's what I mean by that. And they have similar activities. Similar activities to the ancient Judaizers. Some of them are similar to the Sadducees, who didn't hold to a supernatural worldview. For example, and they mutated the canon. In some ways, guys like Ron Shields are like Sadducees. I'm not saying he's identical in his beliefs, but I'm saying aspects where he makes his own canon. Like the Sadducees only accepted the Torah. I'm not saying Ron Shields does that, but I'm saying a similar type of thing. Makes their own canon and then denies a lot of the supernatural elements within the religion itself. For example, denies the resurrection, which Ron Shields is unsure if Jesus rose bodily from the dead, for example. Right. So I think you see that. You got Sakari, who just openly called himself Sakari, and then you had even the disciples. Remember Simon the Zealot? That was a certain faction. I believe Josephus speaks about the Zealot faction, and they wanted a violent overthrow. It's possible that Judas Iscariot, nobody knows for sure. There's a possibility he could have been associated with him because of his last name. There might have been a connotation there. And so sometimes scholars have wondered about some of the linguistic connections, and maybe one of the reasons Judas sold out Jesus may have been because he wanted Jesus to do a violent revolution. He was disappointed he didn't. Right. This is partially speculation, okay? The Bible doesn't speak on this, right? Whatever it was is evil and wicked, whatever his motivations are. But the funny thing is, it's a possibility the Sarkari are basically identifying himself with Judas, a traitor, because it's possible he may have been affiliated with the Sarkari sect. Again, Sarkari sect. But either way, no matter about Judas or not, Sarkari sect is not something you should want to be identified with. They've never worked to accomplish God's purposes in God's way. The Sarkari and zealots and groups like them throughout Jewish history, they've always worked to achieve man's ends in man's way. And that's the error. And Sarkari, the modern day Hebrew Israelite sect, are still doing it. If you doubt, look at JTW Ministries video. Hey, Ricky, drop that link in the chat, please, bro. Drop it. All right, let's see what else we got. Listen, guys, if we missed a question, because we were going to talk about some topics. We got a little notepad over there. We're going to talk about some topics. You guys just asked so many questions. We're kind of missing some of the things. My point is, if you want to get your question and we miss it, ask again and we'll try while we're still on here. So you were looking, did you see anything you wanted to tackle?
No, I haven't seen anything really,
All right. Gerard Perry says, look at the insane reaction Hindus had at Jack Dorsey holding a sign opposing Brahminic supremacy. So I didn't see what comments you put before there. Oh, you're talking about this. Hinduism, especially in its extreme manifestation, is kind of like the pantheist civil religion of Nazi Germany. So that's quite a mouthful. But I will say this. A lot of people don't know, but there's radical sects of Hinduism in India. And they kind of preach a gospel, quotes, that basically says, if you're Indian, you need to be Hindu, and adopting something else is a sellout. And so to kind of preserve a national identity and ethnic identity, there are really radical Hindus in India that can be quite violent, and they persecute church. They persecute the church for real. The media really doesn't cover it because it's actually getting worse. It's pretty bad. The media, by and large, gives Hindus and Hinduism as a religion a pass as far as negative coverage. I mean, they barely do a good job, they don't, on Islam and the issues there. But with Hinduism, it's almost worse. You have to go search to find out the stuff that the radicalized Hindus do. I'm not saying all Hindus are that way or anything like that, but it's true some of what Gerard Perry is saying, and that there's a civil religion aspect to it in India that is pretty ethnocentric, xenophobic, and can become pretty nationalistic, pretty nasty. Like if you think, some of you, well, I'm not going to bring U.S. politics into it. That's gonna take us off track. He dropped that. They're called Hindu TVA. So you guys are dropping all kinds of knowledge about the Hinduism. Nate's keeping track of the freestyles. Much love to you. I don't know who Jack Dorsey is, bro. Sorry. I see you though.
What's up, bro, man? I see you in there. What's going on, brother?
Let's see. Where'd I go? Oh, yeah. Garcia, you bring up a good point. I didn't mention Gnosticism, but that is also an aspect that you see in modern-day Hebrew Israelism, aspects of it. Secret knowledge, determining, and all that kind of stuff. Agree.
What's going on is more so a secular influence. People like if you say that, if you say certain things like God, he opened up the Red Sea, you know what I'm saying? Those type of things that people look at that and say, or you say God, Jesus walked on water. Because of people, we have gotten so secular, and some people really is embarrassed to go to somebody and say, Jesus walked on water. And so there's the next person, the unbeliever, will look and say, well, or even it might be a believer. He might not believe Jesus walked on water. He might say, well, it's an allegory. And so rather not if it's an allegory, which I believe it's real, because there's certain phraseology there that we see. And then they might say, well, he walked on water, and so we don't believe that, that nobody can walk on water. You know what I'm saying? And so they take that standpoint, and so that's how they go to where most people take a secular view, and that's what Ron Shields does. He
right.
That's his whole thing. Is like, if you say certain God did, like God caused the axe head of iron to swim up.
Right.
So this is working against certain things.
We got JTW Ministries. What's up, Ricky? says, can you explain who the Torah Knights are and what they believe?
Okay.
Them boys crazy.
Right. So Judah Nazareth.
That's the leader of the Torah Knights.
That's the leader of the Torah Knights. We got history. Like, we've been in the past arguing against a lot of the guys that was dealing with comedics, and sometimes we was on the same side.
You guys used to squad up?
We used to squad up.
With Judah Nats?
Yeah, because
what's the advantage of that?
Because it was just like you dealing with these comedics, and once it's the Bible against what they say, but then at the same time we warn between each other. But we squatted up together a couple of times, but for the most part, the brother is, he's a Torah Knight. He believed that Jesus is the law teacher, and but he don't, but his information is really mystic, and it's a lot of narcissism.
Here's the way Judah Nats argues. Hey, I got this book right here. It says it. Jesus, Jebus, you know what he is? He's actually the phylactery god. Yeah, that's right. Proof right here. Look at this. Now, what's your answer to that?
Oh, he deals with the Essenes too. He deals with the Essenes.
Yeah. Or he'll be like, hey, why do you worship Serapis?
Well, see, those guys, they did sacrifice, and so a lot of those guys. So that was the thing with that, to where that's his thing, because he's Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? So he'd rather say, well, I'll push the Nazareth or the Essenes, or I'll push them before anything. He said Jesus is the master Torah teacher. Check out that Isaiah 53 debate with me and Judah of Nazareth.
Oh, you debated him?
On Sal Showtime? Oh, my God, man. I spanked that dude on there. All praises to the Father, you know what I'm saying? Because...
All praises.
First of all, I can't really... it's not nothing to brag on, but, hey, look, go check that debate out.
It ain't nothing to brag on, but let me brag real quick.
Yeah. Check the debate out. You will be edified, you know what I'm saying, because it was some information that I got on there.
You'll be edified by how I spanked him in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name, the blood of Jesus.
Hey, but for real, Judah, man, I got like multiple perspectives on those guys, because sometimes the Torah Knights, I'm gonna be real honest. The Torah Knights are all over the map in their behavior, in their tactics, in their theology, in their approach. If they would pick a lane and stick in it, I think it'd be beneficial to them. Because when you talk to them, they'll buddy up with you 1 second, and they'll be like talking cool and normal, and like you're gonna do something like sensible. That camera goes on. Some of them turn into lunatics. They're like gremlins after midnight. It's like. And then after you discuss, they'll call you or message you like, hey, I'm sorry, I get passionate. But meanwhile, in the debate, they was cursing and doing all kinds of foul stuff I can't even repeat. And then they'll change their mind a month later without telling you that they're mad at you again, without you knowing, and put out some real nasty videos. Like, they do videos where they impersonate us.
And they're the biggest trolls, too.
They'll do nasty videos where they talk real sexual, real nasty, and they'll, like, impersonate you and your crew. They've done this. Like, I'm not trying to give too details because I don't want people to find these videos. And some of them, if I was in the world, would be funny. Whoever does their impersonations is like funny.
Judah Nazareth,
he can be funny.
He's really funny, but he's wicked.
They're not double-minded. They're quadruple-minded. Like, and they change their members all the time. And you talk to one member, and they're all sensible and asking normal questions, and the other dude's flying off the handle. It is like dealing with like some kind of middle school clique that can't decide what kind of clique it wants to be. I don't know, man. It's just. But you know what? I say all that just to be frank with you guys. Judah and all the Torah Knights, we got love for you. It ain't hate. You know what I mean? Just pick a lane. Just pick a lane. All right. It looks like we're getting some radical love. Yes, please do Patreon. And please also, my Patreon, hit me up on that. And subscribe to G Kon channel. You ever going to do Patreon, G Kon?
Nah, I don't plan on doing that.
All right.
Not, because I don't put out enough substance to be, doing it. Plus,
I got you.
I'm busy all the time.
A super chat from Ham Sunshine says, stay fresh, my friends. And then we also got a couple other folks. Nathan Pearson with the big super chat. What's up to you, Nathan? How you doing? Much love. You are making the freestyle happen. And D-New, all the way from Canada, says it's the perfect setting for a freestyle. Jonathan Soko, yes, we are going to use some of your beats tonight. And then JTW dropped the link in there. All right, we got great people. We got great people up in here. All right, so let's see what our next question is. Dang, Nate, you holding it down. All right, so Well, there's a couple things we want to try to talk about. So, one thing we want to talk about, or at least I wanted to bring up, is Kemet. Because Kemet is sort of an under-known area. But yeah, it's growing a lot. And then you, MJ, and Adam are really kind of the top guys. And there's only a few other guys who even really deal with Kemet. Like, there's a lot more people that deal with Hebrew Israelism than do Kemet. And we recently did something on Kemet briefly. Me, you, and MJ. And the cool thing was some of the guys who deal with Kemet spoke on it in a pretty positive way. Can you tell people a little bit about that? Because I thought that was a good look.
Right, so we got Kalam
in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK, Talk of the Titans TV.
Mm-hmm. And they got a lot of subs. They got like 49,000, right?
Right, and
he
usually speaks at Speakers Corners. He does a lot of work with those guys. And so he, he said some pretty good things. And, we talked about last week about the misrepresentation of how these guys misrepresent Kemet, and you have Afrocentrics that was birthed out of Eurocentrics, and the Eurocentric thing is that you whitewash everything, and then you see that the counter of that is Afrocentrics. They blackwash everything, and so what they did was they started taking little things that we see in Kemet, and more so just all the way blackwashing the civilization. Now these people. The leaders that we see, some of the leaders that we see, they are the majority black people. But for the most part, when you start looking into it, Kemet was more so of a civilization to where it was a mixed people, as we see, that helped build that civilization that we see in the ancient past. Same thing what you see today of America. And so
everyone, he's talking about ancient actual Egypt, Kemet. Not the modern day westernized religion version of Kemet.
Right.
Because Kemet is simply the ancient name for Egypt.
I know
the Kemet science or Kemet philosophy takes a name from ancient Egypt, although it's a mix and a max and a hodgepodge religion. It's not true Kemetic religion. Although, what does even true Kemetic religion even mean anyway? But
right. And so the feedback that we got from Kalam was that a lot of those things that these guys are representing is more so of a Afrocentric perspective, or instead of what Kemet really dealt with. Like, back in the days, Kemet wasn't looking at it saying, well, this person is this color, this that color.
Right. Because even the empire itself was a mixed
empire. And so when you start dealing with contractors that came into Kemet, so then what they started doing is they saying, well, all knowledge come from Kemet.
So a lot of modern day Kemets basically try to trace all important factors of modern day knowledge and wisdom. They go to ancient Egypt to say here's the root or the source, and it's been ripped off and stolen is kind of their part of their thing.
And so then this was birthed up out of the Eurocentric movement, because you had the Hamite hypothesis, which is a movement that we see that was taught that
I bet you your boy Dake liked that Hamitic hypothesis.
Well, nah, not true. But Dake, we ain't gonna even go with Dake, but anyway, but yeah. So the Hamitic hypothesis is something that we see that white people traveled to Kemet and began, and later on supposedly came black and was related to.
So they were dark-skinned Caucasians who built the pyramids. Because Lord knows these Africans couldn't have done it. That's what the Europeans were saying, basically. They was being straight up racist. They looked and they're like, no African could have done this. This must have been accomplished by, dark-skinned Caucasians. So that's the Hamitic hypothesis, which is in the Zondervan's Bible Compact Dictionary, what the Hebrews use, and they don't even understand. They're utilizing a racist definition to prove their point.
Right. And another thing, too, is there is another one that, David Rowe uses, but I think that one is pretty good, and that is the what is it when a person come into, what is it, man? When they come into Egypt, I forgot what they call it, a migration took place coming into Egypt and established Egypt, but what he uses more so is there is a contact or connection between those that are in the Nile Valley and also those that are in India and also this in Sumer, and so these people have come together and they share ideals. Now, how to come up against that is all science that we see is people that really wants to overcome nature or preserve themselves. And so these guys venture out into the world and they pick up these different technologies or arts and evolving themselves. Somebody made a bridge because they faced a situation to where they may have to go across the water, so they built a bridge, and later on, they begin to take that art on building bridges and become the contractors of that. And so this is what we say science comes from, people having these experiences with nature, with life, and using science to overcome certain obstacles. And so, or to know how to, certain things about nature and also certain things about themselves. And so that's what the Afrocentrics, was not looking at. And also Eurocentrics, they knew it, but for the most part, because they have hate in their hearts, they wanted to spread, the white man is the smartest, the black man is the smartest, and all this crazy stuff.
So, we dealt a little bit with a lecture by a guy who would be associated with a variety of Kemetic philosophy, but he veered over into the New Age side of things, the mystical side of things, I would even say, to a certain extent, occultic side of things. We reviewed it because this Brother Keston discussion, it was 25 minutes long, was getting major views in a period of 2 weeks. And so we weren't saying it was the most foundational to Kemetic. We were just saying, here's the most recent popular one, let's tackle it. So we did, and the cool thing was, though, is that Callum, he's a pretty objective person, and he's pretty entertaining as well. What he said is, hey, the Christians made good points. I would agree with most of what they were saying in their critique of this video. And it's important because you go, man, these guys act like they're not interested in Christianity, and you go on a lot of these Kemetic websites and this and that. Half their material, what I see, is them attacking Christians. They're making really wild, bizarre claims about Christian history and Christian doctrine and stuff like that. And this video that Brother Keston did was no exception. So we took exception to that. And Callum said, hey, the Christians made a good showing. And so much love to him for being objective. We know he's not a Christian. He deals with Kemetic philosophy himself, but he deals with the sort of a different side of things. Not as much the mystical,
now I would
new agey type.
Right now, I would say this. What Keston is doing is not mystical at all. His style is more so of a Afrocentric style.
Yeah, but when he's saying you can levitate objects with your mind, and you can astral project, and if you're in contact with your dreams and visions enough, you can know the future. To me, that was like mystical, occultic, new age stuff.
Right. Yeah. Now that part, but he's more so. What he does is he's more so, if anything, Afrocentric with a westernized mindset. Because when you start getting off into Kalam and you go and you talk to him and you deal with him, then you start realizing here is the mystical things that we see. Like, he wouldn't say something like levitation and stuff like that, but what he's going to do is he's going to come with some type of science that we see. And so it's hard to kind of chase that.
More of like a humanist, modernist spin on ancient Kemet.
And so that's what makes it hard to chase somebody that were they're demonstrating the science that is in Kemet, and then you go behind it and you have to chase that. So you have to know, hey, this is what the text says. Now, there is some science here. But
now, when you say text, he's talking about the Egyptian text, like the Book of the Dead or
pyramid text or coffin
text.
text and different papyrus and, all of those different things. And so, once you read the literature, then you look at it, you say, well, okay, this is what this is saying, but you saying something else. And so usually what happens is they always try to spiritualize or put a scientific explanation with what's going on. Now, there is a spiritual significance about it that we see, with these texts or whatever. But then there is some science behind it. But overall, these people was just religious. Just like certain things like we just religious humans. We have a lot of religion behind it.
All right, we'll enough on the Kemetic stuff. Except one other question. MJ wants to know. Real quick, G Kon, you watched the debate between Jabari and Black Jesus Minister. Now, real quick, Black Jesus Minister. Urban Apologetics is littered with funny characters. And Black Jesus Minister is one of them because he'll come on all strong when he agrees with you, like he's your friend. And the second you disagree, well, he turns into something else. And he got this voice. He'll be like, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is Black Jesus Minister Radio. How you doing, Vocab? It'll start that way. And next thing you know, he's telling you he's going to stomp on you. But did you watch that debate?
I didn't watch it. I'm going to be honest, I cannot watch Jabari
Uh-oh.
Like I
ain't saying hey
right.
Jabari, I ain't saying nothing bad about you because I don't know you like that. So this is just G Kon right now.
This is
ahead,
me.
Bro.
Don't blame him, but y'all know I cannot watch Jabari.
Why? I heard he was the best.
No, he's not the best.
Well, who's the best then? I heard
him and Shaka Utmost is the worst.
Okay,
Now,
who's the best then?
To me, the best is when you're talking to like a Sinjetti or either you know what, Kufu and also Ngozi. Them are the tools.
You've been liking Ngozi.
I'm gonna tell you why.
That's your boy, man.
I'm gonna tell you why. Well, hold on. Let me tell you why.
He gave you that information.
Ngozi and Kufu, and I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to books, Team Osiris, Ngozi, Kufu, they've pointed me to all the books.
That's why you like them. And hey, Jabari, just point G Kon a couple books, and he'll give you a shout out.
And so listen, they're fair. What I like about them, they're fair with what they dealing with. When
Jabari ain't fair?
Jabari, he lies. He pulls out a lot of...
I don't know.
Right.
Jabari, maybe it's... I don't know you like that, so I'm not saying that.
Jabari used bad sources. Shout out to Faithful for making the video of this brother using
no one's
bad
perfect.
sources.
No one's perfect.
You're right. No one's perfect, but at the same time, he puts a more so Afrocentric into a lot of his teaching than what the text is actually saying. When you go talk to a Kufu or Ngozi or Kansu, they're going to basically tell you, this is what this actually is saying, and take it for what it is. We've caught Jonathan Owens up from the Almond Ra Squad. That's another group out there that's real big. The Almond Ra Squad is real big, and they pull out them sources. They speak the language from Sinjetti to the
Wait. When you say they speak the language, you saying they can interpret hieroglyphs?
They can interpret hieroglyphs. Matter of fact, I'm going to be taking a class. Listen, I'm going to be taking a class here with them to interpret the hieroglyphs. Sinjetti is having one because I really want to learn those things because I want to be able to, as a Christian apologist, to combat a lot of those things.
You're sure they're doing the work for real?
Oh, they do the work, yo. And so,
hey, I'm just asking because I deal with Hebrew Israelites who claim they speak Hebrew, and Lord knows they don't know the first thing about Hebrew.
No, they know the word.
So I'm just but hey, there are some Hebrew Israelites who know Hebrew. Usually though, it's the Tanakh only ones who know.
Yeah, Sinjetti and them, they know the work. Well, y'all will listen. I'm gonna tell you what I did. I gave him some work from David Rowe, and it was some work that David Rowe personally got off of. He took a picture off of a mining place in the east on the east side of the Nile. I took it to him and I said, "Do you know what this say?" They knew exactly what it said. I never told them. So listen, and also
they're not pulling the Joseph Smith.
They're not pulling that. And so the Semitic language is also connected and tied with a lot of the hieroglyphics.
Well, they're both pictographic.
Right, pictographic. So that's another thing. So that's why I say that I get and guess what it came from? It came from Darius. You know what I'm saying? The Darius, the Persian king.
All right.
And so they read the script. So.
Hey, well, but for real, I don't know if everyone knows. Joseph Smith claims he translated, right, the Book of Mormon from golden plates that were written in a language called Reformed Egyptian. Now, guess what? There's no language called Reformed Egyptian. Furthermore, why would people living in the United States of America, it wasn't called that then, but that's where he claims these plates were buried. Why would they, who are supposed to be descendants of Israelites, according to Joseph Smith, why would they be writing in Reformed Egyptian anyway? Their history. First, right? Not only that, he claims he did this, and then there was a test that happened, because when the Mormon church was coming up, that's when Egypt was real hot. Real hot. It was when they were finally going into those pyramids. And so this guy came around selling some stuff, and he sold them some stuff in Kirtland, Ohio. This is the LDS church when it was in its formative years. Joseph Smith had some money, bro. They bought some of the Egyptian Book of the Dead Scrolls, right? They bought some of these funerary texts. Joseph Smith got to work on translating it. See, he didn't know that Napoleon's men had already found the Rosetta Stone, which was going to be the key to unlocking how to translate ancient Egyptian, the hieroglyphs, right? Well, they found it, so it was already happening, but he didn't know that at this time. So this dude went ahead and translated the hieroglyphs and the picture images and even filled in the pictures, right, on the scroll. Like when they did the facsimile, he drew the rest of the picture. Real hilarious stuff, right? And then translated it into something called the Book of Abraham, which is found in the Pearl of Great Price in the Mormon sources. Here's my point. Years later, we found the funerary text that Joseph Smith had access to, and at that time, now we knew how to translate Egyptian. Joseph Smith didn't get nothing right. His drawings are wrong. He mistranslated everything he could. He mistranslated the same word different ways. It's crazy. So all of my point is saying that.
That's claim your inheritance. That's his go-to guy. That's his master teacher.
Who, Joseph Smith?
Claim your
Man,
inheritance.
you guys throwing shots and shade. I don't know nothing about it. Keep me out of your comedic debates.
You feel me?
All right. MJ Jackson says, horrible. It was horrible. He went to a 6th century AD source to prove that the virgin birth was ripped off of Kemet. Okay, if he did that, that's bad news. I hope Jabari didn't do that. But he's saying Jabari did do that. His sourcing was horrible. Okay, if he's doing stuff like that, that's bad business. All right, so, I don't know what to say. But, much love. much love to y'all. Okay, what we got in here? Hold on. Oh, Exodus 21, verse 20 wants to know, where do those golden plates go? Okay, so here's what's funny. Joseph Smith, man, he knew how to tell some tall tales, boy. He told people that he got chased by a wild animal when he uncovered those plates and when he grabbed it, and he had to run through the forest and climb up a tree to escape these wild animals, right? Well, what they've done is they've made replicas because they have the dimensions of the golden plates from Mormon sources, the supposed dimensions, and they made replicas of them, and not even in gold, because remember he said this was in gold, which it's the whole thing is silly. So, and they did like a weight of how much it would be and how the density and the mass would be centered. My point is, it'd be impossible for most normal people to even pick up these golden plates, let alone run with them, let alone scurry up a tree, because if I remember correctly, that was part of his story. So my point is, it's all silly. Now, what do Mormons do with this? The Mormon apologists say stuff like this, well, maybe they were just gold-plated, number one, so they try to fix it that way. The other thing is to say, well, maybe God gave him superhuman strength, so he was like Superman for a minute. Now, that's neither here nor there. The gold plates supposedly got transferred up to heaven. They got taken back. So they're now in heaven. They're not even here, so you couldn't look at them if you want. And a lot of the witnesses in the beginning of the Book of Mormon who say they saw the golden plates, later on they asked one of them what they meant when they saw them, and he said, I saw it with my spiritual eye. He saw it as a spiritual vision.
Boy, lying.
Oh, boy. John Ahsoka, who brings the beats tonight for the freestyle, says he was part of the LDS Church for 3 years. You guys would lose it if you knew what went on in that temple. Well, John Ahsoka, now, they got secret video recordings where people have recorded their ceremonies, and it's some pretty weird stuff. Those are pretty weird. Someone you may know says, I believe the plates were made of gold, fool's gold. Oh, Gerard Perry says, there's an entire Wikipedia article about Brigham Young's wives. He had 56 of them. In fact, when you go downtown Salt Lake City, there's a restaurant there that you can eat at. I forget the name of it, but it was where Brigham Young stored all of his wives, and now it's turned into a restaurant. This is no joke. What else we got up in here? Mormons will try to disavow those doctrines by trying to emphasize their clean living and strong family structure. Right. It has a pragmatic value, especially if you live in Utah. If you live in Utah, I could see the pragmatic value to being in. I'm not saying you should do it. But yeah, Gerard Perry, yes, you're correct about that as well.
My dad is a Mormon, matter of fact.
Are you for real?
On everything.
Did you tell me this before?
My dad is a Mormon.
Your pops is, he's black, right?
He's black. He's a Mormon. He's like Mr. Miyagi.
Wait, he looks like Mr. Miyagi because Mr. Miyagi wasn't black.
He looked like Mr. Miyagi.
You saying he's black, but he looks like Japanese?
Yes.
Hey, what was the nickname when he was a kid?
I don't know.
Did they give him because usually they called him dudes Chino or something like that.
Well, actually, he looked like me when he was a kid, but now he look like Mr. Miyagi.
They ain't give him no nicknames. You call your pops Miyagi?
Yeah, sometimes I might, but he's a Mormon, and
now when did he join?
When I first became a Christian, my dad would argue with me back and forth and wanted me to be a Mormon.
What would he say to you? Would he attack the Trinity?
He didn't even know nothing about the Trinity.
So what was he arguing with you about?
Arguing with me was like, come to my church, you know what I'm saying? And what you teaching is not the way. And
did he tell you to find a wife at the Mormon church?
My dad hasn't had a wife.
No, but he tell you would find a wife at the Mormon church?
No, he never told me that.
If you don't believe religion is real and you just want to go someplace to look for a wife, Mormon church ain't about just.
But you know what though?
Because they Mormon thirsty in there, bro.
Yeah, you know what's crazy though? It was either that or he was gonna be a Jehovah's Witness because they come to the door.
And to make it easy,
they come to the door.
You're like, come on in, let's get my. Hey, if you're, there's a little bit of advantage of being a black Mormon because you these days, because of their racist history, when they get a black member, they treat them like
they
gold now.
Gold, yeah.
They're like, here's, sit right here, sir.
Yeah.
Sit right.
I mean, he was faithfully going.
Would you like some water? They're trying to make up for the racist history. They treat the black Mormons like something else now.
Right. He was faithfully going to and he was mad because I wouldn't go. I'd go to my church, he'd go to his. And he would not. He like, hey, look, that Christian church you at? That is not the church.
He ain't have no real apologetics against
he didn't
you.
have none of that, and he still don't actually. He just go to the Mormon church. I mean,
wait, he ain't got a wife though.
He has no wife.
Why does he get Mormonism then?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just being kind of silly right now, but in
all
seriousness,
but you know what?
He's a place he finds friends, like.
I have no idea, but I know that he's a Mormon, and I know that he was very upset when I became a Christian because he wanted me to become a Mormon, and I didn't go follow what he was doing, but he's a Mormon.
Man, hey, in all seriousness, keep G Kon's pops in prayer. In all seriousness, so and that's a serious thing. I don't know.
He's a stubborn guy, so it's hard to you talk to him about
just like his son.
You feel me? You feel me?
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Let's see. All right. So we talked a little about... So we were kind of just giving a shout out to Callum, you know what I'm saying, and his vibe. And one day we jump on there. Maybe he come on here and jump on here. Maybe... Hey, I'd even be willing to let Callum come on and give his understanding of comedic if he'd want, and not even just debate, just kind of talk. I'd be down to do something like that because people need more information, hear his perspective. We was also going to talk maybe a little bit about what's up with we ain't going to do analysis, we might do this later, but the video with Pastor Eric Mason, who's pretty well known and probably out of all the pastors out there, the one who's most aware of urban apologetic issues. There's a brief 10-minute video. The full thing is 25 minutes, but the interaction part was only about 10 minutes of him interacting with Sarkari Camp Dallas. And we're just going to briefly give our summary or overview real quick about it. And let me set the stage, and I'll let you comment. Our main critiquer side is to say, what the Sakari dudes are talking, just kind of give people an overview of it. But Sakari, like a year ago, only had a few members, because I remember when Kada was dealing with them. Now there's like a dozen dudes or something. Like, it's crazy. I mean, it's still not a big, giant, massive church, but the fact that in that time they've gone, and, a lot of them dudes is young. I think the main guy speaking was only like 20 years old or something. So... Hebrewism is attracting people, no doubt about that. Certain people. So they knew about the Woke Church Conference. Now, some of you guys are going to want me to comment on all that. We're not doing that. That's not the point of what we're talking about right now. But they were doing it, and then they were out there specifically to try to talk to people that were attending the Woke Church Conference. So these dudes would pay attention to Christian events, and then, like, I just got to say this. If you guys are going to go after Christians, that's probably the wrong place to do it, because those folks kind of already know what's up with y'all. Right. You got to go grab the Christians who don't know nothing if you want to have any chance of success. I'm just saying. Right. But what's your overview opinion of the Sakari tactics and scriptures?
Well, it's they have to reform their information, and so when the brother Eric was talking to him, you can kind of see that some of the scriptures that they was going to, they kind of
had changed some doctrines, bro. But they'll never say, we've changed this. Right. They just slickly give you a different answer than they would have a year ago.
So what happens is they see now that a lot of apologists is really on them, about their information. So we kind of know what we got the books. We know what to run to. We know how to come up against it. And so now what I seen doing that is I seen them taking how can you say the alteration to their to what they're dealing with. But for the most part, they dealt with, what was it, Matthew 5 and 17. Yeah. The fulfillment of what Christ fulfilled, and he's the full fulfillment of when you talk about the law. They talked about that. They talked about Acts 21, and so ultimately, and I don't want to really say too much because it's some of these things that I really would like to talk to these guys about. Because whatever you talk about, they're going to critique their doctrine. They're going to critique your doctrine. When they hear you talk, they're going to take what you say and find out how to critique it so they can, build a better case than what you build. And
they silently taking notes, and there's a real pragmatic side to some of the stuff, especially Sakari. Meaning, they'll change aspects of their doctrine without really, it's not because of truth value, it's so they can give better answers to Christians who know stuff. And they real slickly change it up and give different answers. Like Sarkari now will be like, oh yeah, we don't teach salvation by works. Yeah, it's grace. They'll kind of say that. But then you listen to them teach the salvation, and it's
right.
It ain't grace alone.
Right. Eric Mason, I think they know he speaks Hebrew.
Yeah, he knows the languages.
He know the language, and so it's only so much that you can do with that. And they don't really speak that like that. They gonna, let's go to the Strongs. He like, I don't need the Strongs. You know what I'm saying? And so, for the most part, they didn't have enough time to tackle a lot of things.
Yeah, because he was on his way to the airport.
Right.
Which, so of course, what do? They label the video, "Woke Pastor Runs from the Israelites." But he told him in the beginning, I'm on what, because he was in Dallas. He's from Philly.
Right.
That's where he had to go. He had to go. It's like, but that's what's tricky. So it raises an interesting question, this video with them. Should anyone, even knowledgeable Christians, is there any profit in dealing with Hebrew Israelites on the street? Because here's what's up. It's like a quandary. If they're there, right? And if you deal with them and they're recording, they're going to act a certain way. And they're going to title the video some crazy thing later on. And whenever you leave, even if you've been with them for an hour, if you leave, then the wicked pursue, the wicked flee, though none pursue. The unrighteous flee. They'll do that. Even if you've been with them an hour. Even if you say, I got my kids in the car and they're about to die of heat exhaustion. You know what I'm saying? They'll still, the wicked, when none pursue it. So it's like, do you want to do it? And then you see how they act. Eric Mason didn't have a megaphone or microphone. They did. And so they would do this. They'd be like, such and such, which you cannot refute or substantiate. And then they would go on to the next thing. And Eric Mason would be like, well, hold up. Because what he wanted to do is he was going to show, I can substantiate what I just said. Right. But they'll slide this thing in there, which you can't substantiate, but then act like, well, they're still talking, so they got to go to the next point. So they'll do these things, but then you can't say nothing. And then because they got the mic, it makes them easier for them to do it.
I do have to give them credit on this, though, because we've dealt with GMS.
Yeah.
We didn't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had to go off
That
to
was
the
a
side.
zoo. That was a zoo.
Yeah, you got to go up to the side. I've dealt with GMS in St. Louis, and I went up there in Chicago by myself and dealt with them after we dealt with them. And one of the things is, I have to say this about the Sarkari camp. They will give you time to talk. You know what I'm saying? And even though...
But they also might sick one of their goons on you.
They're gonna that happened. They're gonna,
If they got their goons out on the sideline, they can be like...
The goons gonna come through. But at the same time, they're gonna make sure they're giving you time to talk. We've talked with the Guerrilla Hebrew. We've talked with Deacon and other brothers. And then the brother out there, even though, what's his name? Hassad. I think his name is Hassad.
I'm talking about the Israelites tried and refined?
The light-skinned guy. No, I'm talking about the light-skinned guy with Sakari with the braids.
Oh, right.
I think it's Hassad. I might be mistaken.
The young guy.
Yeah, but for the most part, you could tell that he still was falling back and was kind of respectful. I'm saying the same.
Until Eric left.
Yeah,
now that's the other thing I want to talk about.
Right.
There was a certain level of respect for a Hebrew Israelite camp that they were showing. The second he left, they see, I just don't see how that's masculine. I don't see how that's manly. I don't see how it's godly. The second he left, they went on about him, and they were all vicious and saying all this stuff about him after he left, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see how you can really justify that behavior.
Well, you can't justify the behavior for as like when people acting crazy, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm talking to you and you proclaim to be a Hebrew Israelite, and I'm talking to you, and we have a conversation, and you leave, I'm going to be honest with you.
But you ain't going to talk grimy like that.
But I am going to go in with this Bible and bring out all the scriptures that they was not bringing out. You know what I'm saying? And so...
Bring it up!
Yeah, so you ain't got to talk grimy. You just need to bring out your scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Because we can kind of see that a lot of these light-skinned brothers, because these brothers is either Mexicans or light-skinned. Sakari is your whole, that's...
They seem to attract the light-skinned guys, right?
Light-skinned, yeah. So they about, you know what I'm saying, they got brothers about his color, you know what I'm saying? And, these are all the Mexicans and the essays, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, I'm not going to talk grimy in a sense. And y'all know whatever I say, I'm going to say it right there. And I'm going to talk about you when you leave, too, at the same time. But it's going to be to the sense to where it's going to be like, hey, let's get to these scriptures. You brothers was talking wrong about what you were saying. And overall, I think it was a great dialogue. I think it could have been better. I think that, they can give you a better dialogue than a lot of other camps. We had Israel Tried and Refined right up there, and
yeah, that was a mix.
It was alright. You know what I'm saying? I can't get a good conversation with them. Vocab can. They don't give me a first shake at all.
But yeah, but it seemed like I felt like the Good Samaritan guys from Detroit, they were more open than the Tried and Refined guys. And even the Tried and Refined guys, now when I try to go talk to them in any kind of way, or you try to talk to them on their live stream,
we don't get it.
They messed up.
Right.
It's like they're nice for that one first time you meet them for a little bit or something. And we're not talking about we're not whining. We're just saying like deal directly, like just deal. We can disagree without being Bogart.
Right.
I don't know.
And see, to be honest, like I would have never got a conversation with these guys if it wasn't for Vocab. But when Vocab came in the picture, the only people who I was conversating with at that time, and these guys knew about me. They would not conversate with me. They knew about me because of Sonetta over there, dealing with, New Black News 101, or either when it came to, the comedic community, and also dealing with certain other groups out there. But for the most part, they knew me. Right. But they will not have a conversation with me. It wasn't until Vocab came and they wanted to really get at Vocab so much to where they was like, okay, you and G Kon come and let's have this debate, or let's do this and that, all of that. And that's when I started really talking to a lot of these guys. And even now, they always say, bring Vocab with you. Bring Vocab with you. And I'm just like, Vocab ain't got to go. We could do it alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because...
Yeah. That lets you know they Hollywood right there.
Right, and so it's really all of that, and I'm like, dude, like, because really, Vocab is who they really want, you know what I'm saying? If you can get at Vocab and you knock him down, then you the man in the Israelite community, you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of that, Yah ben Yah, Vocab, Tazariak, and Katazak cult following continuing bashing you, bro.
Yeah.
So that's ISUPK, everybody, and I don't know what to say about that. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they re-uploaded when I called into their radio show. They re-uploaded like throwback. It's like, why you?
Some clowns, man. But
you still talk to them?
Yeah. They blocked me on the panel, but I still talk to them. They can see my messages. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. I drop in now here and there because I'm a truck driver, so I'm gonna watch you. If you got a channel, you got some good stuff, I'm going to watch you, I'm going to subscribe, and I'm going to deal with your information. GMS, they won't talk to me at all. Tazariak will talk to me, but then, you know what I'm saying, the white guy beside him, he tells him don't talk to me. You know what I'm saying?
Cesare Borgia?
Caesar Borgia.
Cesare Borgia.
Yeah, he will not. He tells him do not talk to him. He will block me, put me out the chat room. Tazariak will talk to me, but I did a show on them some weeks ago too. In regards of they got this thing cross the line, but when you go there and try to deal with information, it's all this joking and playing around.
They play whip sounds.
Yeah, all this crazy
while
stuff,
they're talking to you. They play gunshots and
right.
Oh man.
And see, I think that when it comes to having a cordial and moderated debate, something that's moderated, them guys they don't want to do that because they know that,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I can cut nicely. Hey, heard y'all was talking about me.
Who is that?
Hey, I ain't Mikhail, man. You know I always got love for you,
yeah.
but I ain't trying to be funny. But bro, we wasn't talking about you at all. We didn't mention.
Yeah,
you.
We didn't say Mikhail.
We didn't mention you at all, bro. We mentioned the city of Chicago. And that's about as close as we got, but we didn't.
Right.
But hey, now that you're here, we'll talk about you.
Right. But yeah, shout out to Mikhail Ben Israel. I got love for Mikhail Ben Israel. He IOG. And, for the most part, Vocab got a chance to meet him, but I've been talking with Mikhail Ben Israel for years, you know what I'm saying? And we get into it, you know what I'm saying? We got doctrinal differences, but for the most part, got love for that brother, and also, some other brothers that's up there. Vocab got a chance to meet him. I haven't got a chance to meet him yet, but I'm definitely going to sit down with that brother, meet that brother, eat whatever.
I like you, Mikhail, in person better than online, And these guys are funny because even if you're just chill, like they can't help it. Like I can't remember all the stuff you'd said exactly, Mikhail, but he'd be like, I see you, all right, but I'm still suspicious. He can't just be like, But as far as on the personal level, when I was there, they were very hospitable, and they didn't act crazy one way and then switch too bad the second. Meaning, they took me and let me see the Israel of God place there in Riverdale, and they had some good food out there. So I paid like everybody else though. I paid to get the food, and they let me meet people, and everybody I met was very respectful. So even when I disagree with Israel of God or Hebrew Israelites, you see me again and again say those kinds of things about Israel of God as far as the hospitality. And that included Mikael, because he helped show me around and kind of host me and tell me what was going on and stuff. And I like them because they don't act all like secretive or weird. They're like, here's this, here's where we teach the children, here's where we do this, here's that. Just kind of like, hey, you want this information packet? You know what I'm saying? Again, I mean, we still got some major differences, but, and then it was a good experience overall. So I think you would like. So you've never met him in person?
I never met him, but what's crazy though, because I've been dealing with him for so long.
You feel like
Yeah, and he's really, what I'm saying, it's like this big brother. Like I could bring him around my family. I'm saying, but these other brothers, like, bro, you talk. Yeah, I can't do it.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
Some of those dudes,
you can't do it. But like Mikael, like you talk to this brother. We've even went to war together with dealing with, what I'm saying, a lot of Kemet, you know what I'm saying? And so, we went to war, man, like, dealing with that stuff, to where even though we had disagreements, but at the same time, like, and even with IOG is if I was in town and I was staying for a Sunday or whatever, I'll go to IOG.
You mean a Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. You're right, Saturday. Yeah.
Dang, man, you one of them Sunday Christians.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I go on the first day of the week.
I think he's talking to you. He says, "You my little bro that went left."
Yeah,
I think he's talking to you, and then he says, "You are suspicious, Vocab."
Right. So
Hey, am I suspicious, bro?
Nah, not really. Vocab, Vocab went, and when he came to Chicago, and like I say, it's a lot of things me and Vocab disagree with, but we still hang together. You know what I'm saying? Like other Christians would be like, hey, look, I ain't messing with that brother, whatever the case may be, but because it's a lot of stuff that I deal with that they don't deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, Vocab, you been saved how long?
I don't know, man. I don't even know.
I got saved.
But I know the Lord hit me more seriously when I was about 18.
Yeah, when I was 18, that's when I accepted Christ, and I've been in it that long, so I've been through some experiences. And not only that is that the love of God, even though I can get into it with you, but I still love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna still pray for you on that bed, and praying for you on that bed would actually, soften up the little pain or whatever I experience with you, to where I can love you more as the Bible tells us to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I don't know if a lot of the Hebrew Israelites, well, just people, actually, it's not even just people. I don't think a lot of folks understand you can disagree with people, even like seriously, and it doesn't mean that they have to be your like mortal enemies or you have to assign false motivations. I just don't get all that. So I can kick it with Christians I disagree with, because Christians, man, they like to argue too, and they like to cast people out real quick. I just can't roll that way, Yeah. So man, life is short, man. You gotta pick some friends and then stick with them. Now, if you realize you picked the wrong friend, then okay. What I mean is, they're not loyal or they shady like that. But I mean, you got some good people in your life, couple of real men, couple of real women, whatever your whatever it is, and you realize, hey, this is a legit person, regardless of their flaws, and you just ride with them. And so when you have a fight or an argument or disagreement, you can agree respectfully, and you just keep it moving, man. Like, and in friendship, people are gonna make mistakes. Like, they're gonna do something rude, you're gonna mess up. But like, if we're Christians, you gotta learn how to forgive and stuff. Now, Hebrew Israelites, I don't know. I mean, like, some of you guys may think I don't count in that or whatever. I'm not trying to be everyone's best friend, so that's okay. But hey, man, G Kon's my homie. I'm gonna roll with them. He's got my back. I got his. We don't have to agree on everything, and it is what it is. And just wait though, bro. If I mess up one day or something goes down, and they'll be like, "See, G Kon, I told you, man. You couldn't trust him."
Right. But,
something's gonna happen one day, or some rumor.
That happens in life. But what happens is you know that we all are not perfect. We make mistakes, and so if something do happen, the best thing you could do is hey, look, hey, you stick with that person. I still love you, brother. You know, we all make mistakes. You know, I may be prone to make a mistake in the future because it happens. You know, and so if it does happen, it's the people that really stick close to you and say, well, I understand that this has happened, but at the same time, this is how you can overcome this. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been there, or I know somebody that had an experience, or you can go talk to this person. And so it's really what you do. It's really the people who stick close to you when you experience something, you go through something, to where you grow more of a love for, you can respect, you know what I'm saying, and say, this person is truly that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I say, I'm 37 years old right now, and I've had, you know, Christians cut me off and do certain things, and, you know, it act more worse than, you know, unbelievers.
Sometimes,
yeah.
Yep.
And so, and really, to be honest, the majority of time, because you got to understand, we don't surround ourselves with people that are unbelievers. We always more so around people that are believers. And even in your own immediate family, certain people can hurt you in your own immediate family because you love them so much and you're so close to them. And once they do hurt you, it hurts you so much to where it causes you not to really be able to focus like you should.
Yeah, someone in your family is more likely to legitimately hurt you than, like, no
Anybody
matter how mean some Hebrew Israelite dude is, no matter what they say about raping or whatever, because you don't know them like that, and it's just like, hey, that's their issue. But your family, that really.
Right. And so that's the reason why, you know, in my life, you know, my wife always say, well, why do you distance yourself from everybody? Because, you know, sometimes when you experience that, you know, then you kind of distance yourself all the way. But for the most part, you know, I see a super chat in there. I guess you want.
No, I'm just bringing it up. You ain't gotta. I was letting you go.
Yeah. So for the most part, man, it's just about, you know, we all you know, make mistakes, and sometimes we get out here and we debate these guys, but really, let's make a list, and on that list, let's start really praying for these guys, like,
right.
And then even tell your kids, because if you get that list of your kids, my kids always remind me, you know, pray for this or pray for that. And
Your
so
kids tell you to pray for Tazariak?
well, I ain't got Tazariak on the list, but I'll put him on the list, though. But, you know what I'm saying? But I've prayed for him before, though, you know, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, you know, you give them a list, and so then, you know, you watch these guys. We watch and we interact and deal with these guys. And what happens is, it's more so of you growing a relationship through prayer, for praying for these guys, because especially when you got all day like me, you know what I'm saying? And so sometimes it's you like, man, God, these people, I wish they would see. And it has to be more than just, I'm just going to debate these guys. Or I just want to be right all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I do think it's hard for a lot of the guys to, I don't know, it's just hard for people to realize that. And, you know, I'll tell you, man, the Hebrew Israelites, I mean, not all of y'all, but a lot of y'all, we seen how you guys try to be experts in ripping people apart. Like, if G Kon was less of a man, or maybe if he was more insecure, he wouldn't have been wanting to hang around me, because every time he's around me, some Hebrews like comes on here and makes some racist comment about, you know, like your legitimacy and your blackness or this or that, and so they'll make memes about us. So like, if you were sort of insecure in yourself, you wouldn't want to put up with that because you already know what it's gonna be like. So G Kon, like, you know, they'll do that, or they'll be like, they will call you like they're your friend. This has happened, and they'll be like, try to make it seem like, you know, so-and-so was saying something about you. Or there's a couple of videos where they try to purposely trap us against each other. Right. Like, they'll ask some question like, oh, what about this? And then they'll make a video like, G Kon hates Vocab's friend. Or, you know what I'm saying? They do this stuff. Because it's like, some of these dudes, I'm just saying, are straight, to me, satanic. Like, they come to steal, kill, and destroy. They're not trying to build nothing up. They're not trying to speak life. Like, some of these dudes, it's like straight up demonic work. I'm just saying. And to me, when I see people trying to destroy and tear down in those ways, that's what I see, because that's past just debating the theological issues and trying to find out what's the truth of the Bible and the gospel. And I just hope, man, some of that changes. All right, maybe one more, and then it's time to do the freestyle. Michelle Marie bringing in the super chat. Hey, some of you guys, can you keep track real quick? Because it looks like we got enough for one. Real quick, we just do a couple more questions and we're jumping this freestyle. Man, we got a lot of people. 76, man. Look at that. G Kon. Why do brothers from the conscious community bash Christianity but never the Nation of Islam?
Well, I can't say that they do bash the Nation of Islam. That is taking place a lot because, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. We did have some people who were standing on dealing with Islam, you know, that was going against the Kemetic community. And they just didn't have the information to do it. Like, they didn't have the information. They was getting slaughtered. And so altogether, the Kemetic community is like, or the conscious community is like, Islam is from the white man. Christianity is from the white man. So altogether, we don't need none of those. Let's sit those to the side. And so there is a war between those. This is why Kalam was actually Islam. I think he's.
Oh, he was a Muslim?
Yeah, and so he pushed away, and he kind of dealing with more so the Kemetic stuff. And so there is a war that's there of any Abrahamic that they see, this Abrahamic type of religion.
War going on outside, no one is safe from.
Right, he finna start rapping already. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that when you start looking at Ali Muhammad getting into it with these guys, what comes out of the Kemetic's mouth is always Islam and also Christianity. Any religion they don't want no parts of, and they try to make Kemet to where it's not religion.
Yeah, especially I think the UK based Kemetic guys, they do seem to go after Islam. Now he's asking about the Nation of Islam though. Like Farrakhan and the Chicago based guys.
So we had Seti. I don't think you guys know him, but he's real graphic. So we had Seti and Young Pharaoh. They went after the Nation of Islam and got ridiculed by, because one thing you don't do is the Nation of Islam. Everybody is really scared of them. I'm just gonna keep it honest with you, because if you is out here and they make moves,
they about to march up on you,
right? And so when you say something against them, which Seti did, Young Pharaoh kind of held back a little bit and let Seti, because he knew already I got the, you know what I'm saying? Seti going full fledged though. Man, it was war. Like, and see, you have to be careful.
They go out there on the street or something?
Yeah, no, they were saying it on the internet to where it was a straight battle, but you have to be careful
Who
with
was
that.
The Nation of Islam guys battling them?
Farrakhan now.
Wait, Farrakhan was responding to Seti?
Oh my God.
Farrakhan himself was responding to Seti.
Seti is he does it in a way to where it's like, it's how do you say it? It's
What about Brother Ben X? Was he in there?
I don't know about Ben X, but I know that Farrakhan then was saying certain things, letting them know like it's not towards it's not direct.
They don't say his name.
It's indirect, and so they was doing that.
They all like, remember what happened to Brother Malcolm?
And so look, the Kemetic dudes was telling them, hey, listen, just like that, like, bruh, you need to watch that.
You better start building your pyramid.
And then they was like, also they do respect Farrakhan in a sense, even though. But, they respect him in a sense, even though they don't deal with what he's dealing with, they come up against it, you know what I'm saying? But not like that, because they don't want to take it too far, because these guys are on the corners, these guys are in the prisons, and they don't play any games. So if you out here still on these streets and you ain't living right, then you go get locked up talking that, like, what, 80% of the prisons is almost NOI, almost the growing rate of just Islam in general. And that's a spinoff, a knockoff, like, you know what I'm saying? But you don't really want to mess with that like that.
Oh boy.
Being positive be everywhere.
Oh boy. Someone wants to know what's something we disagree on.
It'll be the final call.
Yeah, it'll be your final call.
Right.
And someone says maybe predestination. I mean, that's a big one. You know, I've never been embarrassed to say I'm a Calvinist, and G Kon, he don't like Calvinists.
Right. Well,
he's got an allergic reaction.
I don't like the theology. I'm saying, and I do get into it with some Calvinists, like some real rude ones. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying, it's some tenets that I see this there, but
like
that'll
G
be
Kon can't be rude.
Oh, I could be super rude. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, we already know.
Right, I could be rude. See, that's one thing about it. I can say that I can admit, because it is in the open, I could be rude. I'll be the first to tell you. But when you got people that say that they can't be rude and they like self-righteous, then you be like, oh yeah, he tripping or whatever. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, I can get rude with it. I ain't gonna lie to you.
No. So we disagree on Calvinism. G Kon doesn't think the 5 points of Calvinism are biblical. I don't think he wouldn't hold to a strong view of predestination and sovereignty in the same way I would. I think we mentioned the rapture. You hold to a rapture. I don't hold to a secret rapture. I think he would have somewhat of a different perspective on the nation of Israel than I would. Anything else? So I mean, those are
yeah, and that's probably it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh well, hey, let me just say that G Kon's a little bit more of a conspiracy theorist than I am.
Right. Well,
So if I say, "Hey, that's a conspiracy theory," he said, "No, man, it's just true," and they'd be like, "How are you gonna be so smart and you don't know, man? You haven't ever studied this?" Right. G Kon gets mad when I don't believe when he starts breaking down some of them. We're like, well, "You don't understand?" I'm like, "Nah, bro, I don't buy it, bro." We're like, watch this video." I was like, "Man, I don't know about watching that video, man."
So I'm more so of I deal with eschatology a lot, and so when I look at certain symbolisms and stuff on your dollar and stuff like that, I really take that to the to the core.
Do you say my dollar?
Our dollar. This your dollar.
See, there you go, my
our dollar. Because I spend it too, but but
no, it's all good, man. Thessa Revan says I used to argue with G Kon at Calvinism.
I don't know. I probably did. Yeah, I probably did because I was arguing.
See, G, you just gotta learn, G Kon, just not to have a allergic reaction.
Nah, I didn't. I was cool for about a minute, but I was cool for a cool little minute.
All right, we'll see how he does. Vocab, Farrakhan is now a Q dog. Actually, I did see that picture, and I don't know if you guys know, but on my Instagram, I was zoomed in on it, and I was like, hey, everyone, look. Farrakhan's joining the IUIC because I was being stupid because the colors of the Q Dogs are close to IUIC. You know what the Q Dogs is? Stepping and historically, purple and gold kind of.
Silver.
Because people come out sometimes and ask them, "Are you guys Q Dogs?" Like they sometimes think IUIC are the Steppin fraternity, whatever. That is at a lot of historically black colleges and universities. And so I don't know what all the situation behind it, but there is a thing now with Farrakhan in their garb, and there's a bunch of Q Dog like older members with him, and so I guess in some way he's part of it or something. I don't know the detail. Hebrews in the Hood, Mikhail being Israel says, "Man, the NOI was waiting outside young Pharaoh's crib. I'm from the shy. Leave them
I'm
boys
telling
alone."
you. Yeah, but I think Roxy B said one of the What did she say? Did she ask?
I think she was saying we disagree on predestination.
Yeah, she said something about what would I...
Oh, a book you recommend? Okay. I think she's asking you to recommend a book for to prove your heretical Arminianism.
Right. But look, okay, what I would recommend is basically it's called The Potter's Promise, and it's by your favorite
Leighton Flowers. Hey, I like Leighton Flowers. See, again, I don't actually like hanging out with many Calvinists, even though I am. Most Calvinists get on my nerves, bro. So if you're Arminian and you could chill without trying to shove Arminian, I could probably hang with you quicker than I can a Calvinist. Because a lot of Calvinists, they just too much for me, bro. I'm just saying. So I don't be tripping on Leighton Flowers like that. Like, he seems like a cool guy. I talked to him. Like, Mike Winger? Mike Winger's down, and he's down with someone brought him up earlier. I'm actually interviewing him this Thursday.
Yeah, I like Mike.
If it's the Lord's will, I'll be interviewing him this Thursday.
And so that's what I would say, The Potter's Promise, a biblical defense of traditional soteriology. I can't say it. I'm tongue-tied.
That's all right, man.
But so I think that he has a great book. I got it on the PDF. I usually don't like PDF, but you know what I'm saying? I got a lot of PDF books, but that's a great book. Go check it out.
Man, if you're going to say that, I don't even want to say this because now I'm in a place where I don't even know if I want to recommend stuff, but if you're going to read that, you probably need to read what the original thing that he's responded to, which is The Potter's Freedom by James White. And, James White does a lot of stuff these days that I kind of step away from, but just like you and Dake, when it comes to The Potter's Freedom, I pretty much co-sign that book, meaning... Like, to me, it has solid exegesis and answers, so I will go with The Potter's Freedom. So if you're going to read that, there's another one to read. But, most of my family that's Christians, they're pretty much all Arminians, All right. Excuse me. I'm a little...
and so I would say this, that...
I'm about to sneeze. Okay, go.
I would say that, it's very important. What I find out when you deal with apologetics is that, how Christians are, how the Black Hebrew Israelites are getting the upper hand on Christians is that they're starting to go into what we see, people like Ron Shields and these other guys, they're starting to go into the cultural text. And so what happens is you can see that some of these things you can look at in the Bible and say, well, okay, what is this that they was doing? And so when you go and you look at the cultural context of it, you start to see what is being said here in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that you can always use the cultural context or anything that's cultural to how you open up the text of the Bible, but there is some things that you need to look at that will help you overall to understand certain things in the Bible. I'm not saying it's all of it. And so you have to have a respect. Me, I would say that, I try to not be so Western minded. Now, that might sound kind of funny to people, you know what I'm saying? But I try not to be so Western minded when it comes to the biblical text, because these are ancient Near East customs. This is like if a black person, the Afrocentrists, they come to me and they say, well, this is a white man's book, and the Israelites were white people and stuff like that. Well, when you look at the culture of these people, these are ancient Near East customs, and so you look at these customs, you ask them, well, do we find this custom here, or how is that the case? But that doesn't matter anyways, but it always helps to know, if you want to be arguing, to look at these different customs and look at it and say, okay, this what this meant, and I can see it clearly a little bit more, because now I'm getting off into the custom and know it, and that's what I like about his book, because he
You're saying Leighton Flowers does all that?
Oh my God. Leighton Flowers get busy. And also Michael Heiser, that's one of my favorites. But I'm going to end that on that note, but that's what I would recommend.
Mikhail says something I don't understand. Let's debate the Calvinist, G Kon. It won't work because you won't be available on Sundays? I don't get it. I don't know what he's saying there. But, sorry, Mikhail, that one's over our heads. The Hebrew Israelites they want to try to get us to debate. But look, I know Christians debate that stuff. I'll talk to a person who's sensible on the side. I'll have a discussion or conversation. But as far as setting up these elaborate things to go and debate other Christians and do that, I'm just not very interested. Debating apologetic methodology with non-presuppers, debating all this eschatology. I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. That's just not me. Because I feel like there's so many apologetic issues that need to be covered. I just don't want to be spending my time. Now, the thing is, when you get outside of orthodoxy, that's different. For example, a one that's Pentecostal, to me, I'm no longer debating a Christian there. Now, as far as the official view, I'm not saying that there's no people who are confused or mixed up in one is Pentecostal, but once you start straight up denying the Trinity, Jehovah's Witness, that's, to me, you kind of cross the threshold there. But, look, Rogan Black says, when G Kon broke down So Real's debate with Guerrilla Hebrew classic material, dude had the spirit in him. You know what he's talking about?
Oh, yeah, appreciate. Yeah, I did a whatchamacallit on that, on the debate. And that's with a recap on that debate with the Guerrilla Hebrew. Shout out to So Real. He did an excellent job. He actually won that debate, but, the judges voted against him because, it's just like he's a Christian. And so this is a community that's, they don't vote right. But we're not going there to basically get wins and W's. It's just really to spread the message and stuff like that. Yeah,
G Kon, you debate in those places where you know that they're not going to give you a W.
Yeah,
you just there to shine a light, which I respect G Kon for doing that. Amin said, is Arminianism really heretical? When I said that, I was making a joke. Just so everyone knows, I do not think Arminians are heretics for 1 second. I don't think that. I was making that joke. First of all, that's how I roll. That's part of the fun of it. You got to be able to talk that way about these things, in my opinion, to be able to have fun and mess around, or else you get too serious and uptight, which is a lot of Calvinist problems. And there are a lot of Arminians that have such a knee-jerk reaction to Calvinists that they can't be a friend with no one who's Reformed. I don't think that's good either. But I was making a joke. If you're talking about what I said, I was making a joke because there are some Calvinists who will call Arminians heretical, and I cannot go there with. I don't think they have a good case to say that at all. And so sometimes I've even debated, off air, whatever, Calvinists who try to say Arminians are heretical, because I don't get that. Just like the Arminians who say Calvinists are heretical. I don't think that's right either. And even if you disagree with the position, I think it's fair to say, look, this is a problem, and if they were consistent, then it might lead to heresy, but we're all inconsistent, and so since they don't go here or go there, then I don't think that it's really a heretical position. I think there should be a charitable spirit in these kind of debates and discussions. So I was just joking when I said that. Desiree says, I'm not a fan of Flowers. Well, as far as his theology, brother, if you are a brother, I'm not either. I think, I like it, but what I'm saying is I like him as a person. He seems cool. I'll talk to him, My dislike for a lot of his theology doesn't mean I think he's not a Christian or that he's dumb or nothing like that. He just has a different viewpoint, which I respect. I don't think it's right on some of those issues. But if you put the world right now, everyone living on the planet Earth, in everyone, you could see everyone, and you said, okay, who is a Christian that believes the gospel is the only means for salvation and God is triune, the Bible is God's word, it'd be a tiny little position of people. And guess what? Me and Leighton Flowers will both be in that bucket of people. You see what I'm saying? So even though we disagree, there's a lot more agreement, ultimately, in my view, than what we disagree on. At least that's my perspective. I don't know what you want to say.
Right. You know, my thing is, like I say, I differ from a lot of teachings that I see, out there in certain things. And so when it comes to Leighton Flowers, I think that he's giving it back to, taking it back to the text instead of trying to westernize. I do. I think he does.
I think Jesus is shaky, right, bro. I'm sorry.
And so
it's all right, though.
I think that he's definitely, he takes it back to the text. I think his explanation on, what the text is actually saying is definitely there. And so when you start to begin to look at it, he piecing the pieces together. More so to me, and I would suggest y'all check them out, because then it's gonna open you up to where you're gonna see, okay, well, this is why this is saying that, because we've been taught a certain way, and that's fine. You've been taught that. Well, like me, I don't hold even though I believe in the Trinity, I don't hold the position that the Trinity is something that is essential for salvation. I think that people, when you talk about the nature of God and what God is, that's something that is important, but that's something to where you got to know the Trinity to be saved. I don't know where that's said in the Bible, to be honest, and I do know that, that a person, it took me probably like, I got saved. I didn't even know anything about the Trinity, you know what I'm saying? And that the theology of dealing with the Trinity, the nature of God, is something that came later when studying, the Trinity. Then I began to realize and say, oh, okay, this is the best way, according to what the Bible says, on how we explain the nature of God, and how he exists, in three distinct persons that we see, within the Godhead, but yet one God. And so I understood that, because certain same things can be said, of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit of God. And so that's what I got from. But if a person does not know that, or they don't see it how you see it, I wouldn't say that they're not a Christian. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe that. Just because you say that, well, this may be essential to you. The gospel that we see is very clear. You know what I'm saying? In the gospel, we see the death, burial, and resurrection, and then we see that Christ, he how he when he came, how he always gave glory back to the Father. So I don't hold that position. They hold that position, and other Christians, I don't.
It's like this. I think so. My position would be, if someone has to do with the amount of light you've been given, sort of what you're responsible for. Meaning, like a 9-year-old who is legitimately regenerated and dies, if they can't explain the triune nature of God properly, I think it'd be silly to think that, that 9-year-old who is regenerated, the Holy Spirit of God born their heart again, to be like, well, you can't explain the Trinity properly, so you got to wait outside. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or a new Christian, for example, or maybe a Christian who now I'm not saying should shape, maybe the theology for whatever reason is not very strong, and you know what I'm saying, like they might have issues in this and that. There's like all these things, but where I start to have a real problem with is when a person is shown the truthfulness of who God is in his nature and his person from Scripture, and is an outright rebellion against that knowledge. So, like Anthony Buzzard, a Socinian who works overtime to deny the triune nature of God, I pray he is, but I would be shocked to. It's difficult for me to picture Anthony Buzzard straight up denying Jesus is God could really be a Christian.
Right.
That type of thing. Or oneness Pentecostals who, they know the information, they have it, they see it, and they work to teach people falsehood otherwise. To me, it's like that type of stuff. It's not just, I think there's like things you take into consideration, basically. So, to me, it shows a rebelliousness against God if you just outright reject once you're presented with the truthfulness of what Scripture is saying about God's person.
You can't. The reason why I say that, you can't say that it's rebellion, because it's really, God has to show them that.
Yeah, but see, if you deny, if you didn't, how can you? So, like, for a person to recognize the Trinity, part of it is just recognizing that Jesus is God, the Father is God.
Right.
So, a person that is rejecting the Trinity, they're making some major mistake somewhere, and usually it entails rejecting Jesus as God. If you reject Jesus as God, you have a major problem with your understanding of the gospel. Like, that's like rejecting the gospel. That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you think about someone rejecting Jesus as God?
Right. I think that if they are rejecting Jesus as God, right, it's because God has not revealed that to them. So Jesus, the message that he came, which is the gospel, he didn't come to exalt himself and say that he was God. He basically came and said the gospel, which is the death, burial, and resurrection, and whatever he got from the Father. So you gonna go into the Greek, but they may not go into the Greek.
So like Jesus says, unless you believe I am He, you will die in your sin.
Right, and
Jesus saying you gotta believe what I say about myself.
Right, and so when he says that I am He, most people translate that I exist, God exists.
No one translates that.
A whole bunch of people translate that like that because when
it's ego and me. It means
right,
I am.
I am, right? And so when he's telling them I am, and then when you look at God exists. He exists.
But Jesus says I am He. Right. He says I am. He says, but he's not just saying unless you believe I am God. He's saying also unless you believe the things I say about myself are true, you will die in your sin.
Right. And
so what Jesus says about himself, you got to believe. And you're saying Jesus didn't come to say. He's God. But, I mean, remember, the Holy Spirit inspired John to begin his whole gospel with Jesus as God. So it's clearly an important part of a gospel understanding. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Like, if you reject the Trinity, it probably means somewhere you're rejecting Jesus as God. Right. I don't see how you have a gospel if you have a Jesus who isn't God.
If you're rejecting him, you're rejecting him because if you're a Calvinist. If you're a Calvinist, God has to regenerate you first. So if you're rejecting him, then it has to be God that's the one that's called. Because he hasn't revealed that to you, because you believe regeneration proceeds before faith. So if he haven't regenerated you, you only doing what he has determined for you to do, because he has in the first place haven't given you the ability to even receive him. So you can't say that you pray or you this and that. No, in reality, it's that you haven't been regenerated. God hasn't revealed it to you. So really, the best thing you can do is to say, well, I'm going to pray for this person because God has not regenerated that person, hasn't revealed it to him, but he revealed it to you. So you can't say that you disagree or you this and that. God has not revealed that to that person. And so because he hasn't revealed it to that person, then you just got to continue to pray for that
Jesus
person.
says that, my sheep hear my voice.
All right, but why do they hear his voice, though?
Because they're given to Jesus by the Father.
Right, but he says, my sheep hear my voice, right? He says, all that the Father have gave of me, he says, they have been taught, right? So, in other words, if I'm calling a sheep and the sheep ain't never heard me before, he's not going to come to me. But if I heard that sheep or I spoke to that sheep before in the past, then what happens is he's going to hear the Son, because the Son is speaking the same thing that the Father is speaking. And so he's going to come to you because the Son ain't saying nothing different from what the Father is saying. So when you look at it, this is why he says, those that have heard of me. That's why they coming to him, because when the Son come, he's speaking the same thing that the Father is speaking. So therefore, he comes unto the they come into the Son.
And if you reject the Son, you don't have the Father.
Right. And so if a person,
so that's what I'm saying. If you reject Jesus as God, the Bible says you don't have the Father.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If that clear, I understand that. But if a person is rejecting the Son, right? If they're rejecting the Son according to Calvinism, it's because God has not regenerated them in the first place. So
right. But I mean, either way, whether you believe in whatever your order of soteriology is, you still would define the gospel in certain ways. And I don't see how you can define the gospel outside of having Jesus as God, because who is suffering for the sins that you committed on that cross? He can't just be a man. He can't be an angel. He can't be a created being because he can't pay. So your doctrine of atonement is destroyed if you have Jesus, who is
right. It
not
has to be God.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. You're saying like, and the problem is, I don't see how you can, if you reject the Trinity, it usually in some way you're rejecting the deity of Christ.
It's really this. Is it
unless you're believing in three gods?
Yeah, all of us know about the nature of God. I mean, we know somewhat about the nature of God. We know in part about God's nature. We don't know the fullness right now. So I'm not going to judge a person because they don't know the fullness, because that's God who's supposed to reveal that to them.
Well, how does he do it?
I mean,
how do you hear without a preacher?
Right, exactly. So when he's coming and he's preaching, we can get off into the Greek because we deal with the Trinity. They may not be getting off into that yet. Like I said, it didn't take me probably like 2 to 3 years later, and then when we still see
right, that's what I was saying in the beginning. Like you're saying, it took you 2 or 3 years to like recognize. Like I think it's silly to be like, oh look, this person, say you, they're not. You know, they couldn't pass a test on the Trinity, therefore they would have gone to hell if they would have died at this point. That's, to me, that's silly, because that's actually, I don't even see how that's really a salvation by grace alone, because you're making it sort of on a person's perfect expression of some doctrine or something. But because you're a disciple of Jesus, and as you see it, then it is open to you. That's what I mean. Someone who says they're a disciple of Jesus, and yet is presented with the truthfulness of God in 3 persons, and they reject it as a pattern, it's difficult for me to see how that person, first of all, understands the gospel, because their atonement view has to be all wrong because they don't have Jesus as God suffering. And then, really, why would they rebel against how God has revealed himself to be? And usually, if you ask them, it's these rationalistic reasons, like, it doesn't make sense, this or that. But it seems like a real problem to say, how can a person reject Jesus as God and really because still be a believer over a long term? And they don't even know the Greek. Like, in English, remember, what's the first thing Jesus says? Get baptized. You know, as far as the first thing a disciple, the first step a disciple takes after salvation, baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So the very entry into Christianity, as far as the step of discipleship that everyone sees, it's already happened in the heart, of course, is recognizing the triune nature of God from jump. And so Jesus is saying, like, this is how you do it. See, that shows how important it is, I guess, is what I would say.
Right. Yeah, I don't, like, we're going to disagree to agree to that. I don't believe that knowing the Trinity, I think that is the Christian's baby. But I don't think that that's what the Bible teach. I think that the Bible does teach a Trinity, but it doesn't teach it. It is the essential, because the nature of God is so complex to where we don't even know. Have you ever seen God before?
No.
I've never seen God before. And so it's certain things that's on a higher level and dimensional level that we can't really fully explain. That even Paul was saying that there were some things that they couldn't even really speak. So when it comes to the nature of God and his essence, I don't really argue too much about that. But when it comes to what Christ came to lay down, whatever the Father taught him to get us back unto the Father, is something that's very important. That later on we will experience, because when we will be conformed to the very image of Christ, you know, and it will be actualized. Because right now, I mean, we pressing towards that mark, and we're not fully there yet. So I can't say, well, this is essential to the faith, but I understand it. You know, that you got, like you say, oneness out there. God may not have revealed it to them. Can I say that, oh, this, you know, I can't do it.
Michael A. says, Trinity believers are the ones who don't understand the Trinity.
Right.
See, remember I said, a lot of the rejection usually is of some rationalistic. And when I mean rationalistic, I don't mean rational as in it's logical. I mean rationalistic as it places above God's revelation, it places man's human reason. And so it's like, well, if we couldn't fully process or apprehend this, then I don't accept it. But God's nature is partly revealed, I believe, to humble us. It shows us that we don't fully understand everything about the makeup or fabric of reality. Why would it even make sense for us to understand God in that level? Now, he reveals himself for a reason. So it's not just wasting his breath, so to speak. There's a reason why he does reveal about what he does reveal about himself. But here's what I mean by that. God is eternal. So step away from the Trinity for a second. And we're going to get to this freestyle in a second here. But check it out. God is eternal. How can any of us process a being who is eternal? Like, we can say the words and affirm it doctrinally, but all of us came into into existence at a point in time, and we know we'll all die. Thinking about something that's eternal is literally like nothing in our experience. Even something we know that's super old, like the sun. You know what I'm saying? Man, that sun been there for a minute, and it's going to be there after I'm dead and gone, most likely. It's not eternal. It's not an eternal sun up in that sky. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for us to think there's a God, there's a being who is eternal, he never had a beginning, and he'll never have an end. Or God's omniscience. That means God thinks all thoughts simultaneously at once and has full access and knowledge about all of them and all of reality. And that's just a beginning definition of omniscience. How can we process that? We can't even really think on more than one thought at once. Right. Try to do it right now. think of red roses. Now, while you think of red roses, think of black crowns. Like, you can start to do it, but you can start to see, like, you can't really, it's almost like you have to alternate, like a computer with the two different RAMs, you know what I'm saying? It goes back and forth or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about, some of you nerds. I barely know what I'm talking about. But, like, you try to think, like, how do we process omniscience? How do we process? You start to realize, and so for God then to say that I am not like any other being in this created universe, one God, eternally existent in three distinct persons, that's different than anything in our experience. But why should it surprise us when he reveals his nature to be that way, when God is by definition different than the created order? And it's not contradictory. We're not saying there's three gods and there's one God. We're not saying that they're you see what I'm saying? If we said there's three gods, there's one God, three persons. So just to say that, so I see your comment, Michael A. Clearly you don't believe in the Trinity. I pray that you do, because God reveals his nature for a reason. All right, it's time to you got ready? There's a lot more questions people bringing in this. I think this is successful. People are feeling it.
Yeah, they.
But it's time to freestyle. So you ain't gonna drop a verse?
Nah, I can't drop no verse. I can't rap. I'm not a rapper.
But sometimes I heard you try to rap a little bit. I heard you used to rap with Flame back in the day.
Nah, I wasn't rapping with Flame.
I heard you used to be in the Hog Mob, bro. You got the tattoos to prove it.
I got the Hog Mob tattoos, but I was a supporter of them. I wasn't in the. I can't rap at all. I mean, I used to rap, but I can't freestyle. I write, and even with that, I don't write anymore.
All right. So I'll let you pick the beat made by Jonathan Soko. You tell me which beat.
Okay, I liked the little beat that you had earlier. That was nice.
So here's one beat. I'll play three different ones. These are made by Jonathan Soko, and then I'll rap to the one that you pick. All right. So there's one. So that's that style. And here's this one right here. I'm going to skip to it real quick. And then here's this one. If it was a system, it'd bump bigger. And then here's this one.
That beat is hard.
Oh, that one right there, right?
That beat is hard right there. I like that.
That's not going to be an easy beat to rap to, but all right.
Okay. Well,
I'll do it. I'll do it.
That beat is hard.
I said I'll let you pick, so I'll pick. All right, guys. Freestyle mode is unlocked. Now, look, G Kon, here's the one thing. It's better to do with the headphones, so you won't be able to hear.
Okay, cool.
Because if I do this, it puts too much feedback in the mic.
Yeah, I know.
And it don't sound as good. But if I rock the headphones, so you can still hear the beat with it. If you you'd have to have headphones on too. I was gonna say through your phone.
Yeah. I'm gonna sit. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go downstairs.
Go downstairs. Well, you can't. He won't even be around when I freestyle.
Right,
Dang,
I'm
bro.
gonna take my phone with me.
All right. Well, yo, what topics you want me to freestyle about, man?
All right. So maybe let's talk about the.
Here, let me write it down, bro.
Let's talk about Eric Mason.
All right. What else?
Sarkari.
Okay.
We can get off into some Kemet. We talked about some Kemet. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
What was that? Evangelism?
Yeah, we were talking about street evangelism with Hebrew Israelites, but we never really got to that.
So then let's talk about put Mikael in there.
Oh boy, come on, man! Why are you trying to get me in trouble?
Who else want to put in there?
Your boy Jabari.
Put Jabari in there.
I don't know, bro.
Who else we got?
How about
claim your inheritance.
Claim your inheritance. You want to talk? Why are you trying to get me to talk about people?
All right, so look. Okay, so let's look.
How about Calvinism and Arminian?
Yeah, we talk about that.
How about the Trinity?
Yeah, talk about the Trinity.
How about you can say something about Chicago? I don't know, bro. What else are you gonna talk about?
ISUPK.
Oh boy, man, what are you trying? You're just trying to. You're not even. This is not normally what I freestyle about, bro.
We gonna make it.
All right. Brian Garcia says we should rap about him. Someone else said we should rap about Hebrew Israelites. All right. Let's see. So you guys made it happen. Oh look, we had to get somebody. We had to get somebody who had to throw this. So where to go? I'll put it up real quick here. Oh, there you go. Guess. Says culture vultures.
Oh man, this dude is ridiculous.
Oh, you know who this is?
Yeah, he's the biggest troll ever, man. Just go on a rap, man.
Hey, but is he saying culture vultures Me and you? Are
Yeah,
you a culture vulture too?
I don't know what but he cannot stand me, and he do not like you at all.
Yeah, that's all right. We love you. Let's hear about culture vulture.
Yeah, that's and then he's a troll. Let's guess.
Yeah, let's hear about guest. Let's hear about trolls. All right. I don't know, bro. I don't know if I got much fire. We've been talking so long that I don't know if I got enough fire left in me, bro. But I'm gonna do my best. All right. I'm about to do it. Hey, so you're not gonna be here tomorrow? You taking off back to?
Yeah, I gotta get back to work. You'll get to this money, cause I can't be off no longer than it's been 34 hours.
All right. When you guys, hey, thanks for giving me the snaps on the Petro too.
Oh man.
G Kon gave me snaps on the Petro today.
You know, we get a snaps on the Petro. You know, he came and picked the brother up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I did. He was hanging out with some old truck drivers up in there. Nah, I saw that old guy. He seemed cool, though.
That guy was talking about everything. I'm like, man, I was trying to eat my food. He kept talking. I started to say, hey, man, you going to let me eat my food? But
oh, shoot. Hey, also, G Kon's married, but I'm just saying, there's this dark-skinned waitress.
Oh, my God.
Hey, she was feeling him. He had to stay away because this dark skinned waitress was feeling G Kon.
Look, I turned her down, and the old man was like, "Hey, I'm right here."
Oh, shoot!
The old man was like, "Hey, I'm right here."
He's trying to get your leftovers, bro.
Yeah,
he's trying to. Nah, G Kon, he had to. But also, I saw G Kon has flip flops, bro.
Yeah, I got on some.
Because when you take those trucker showers. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
I was like, why is G Kon got flip flops sticking out his bag? I was like, oh, he worried about the trucker toes.
Yeah, you can't be stepping on them floors like that. You need them flip flops.
Trucker toes. All right, hey, much love on the Patreon, love. All right, well, we're gonna do it. So you saying you're gonna go downstairs? Is that what you?
Oh yeah, let me go downstairs.
This fool gonna go downstairs. All right, whatever.
Because I want to listen to it.
All right, I got you. We'll see.
But I don't want to wake the dog up though.
Nah, he's okay, man. Whatever. Hey, G Kon is scared of the dog too. By the way, everybody.
This dog snores like a human. I'm telling you.
That is true, actually. He does. Go ahead. It's all right. You can go that way.
Oh, you right.
Yeah, he loves to come in. The second you open that door, he rushes in. All right, guys, we're gonna bust these. I got the topics here, and thanks for everyone for the super chat. I think it's just gonna be one freestyle tonight. I hope I can do this with my runny nose. And there he is, dog. Don't be distracting me while I'm trying to rap. We don't do this because I'm the best rapper. We do this to make Apologetics fun again, and the people want it. And you know I aim to please. So it's time to drop that Soko beat. Now here's what's up. With the Soko beat, it's only 2 minutes, so I'm not going to do 2 freestyles per se, but since the beat is short, I'll probably play the beat twice, because I think that kind of constitutes one freestyle. Now this one's going to be a little difficult to rap to, because it was a little different, but here we go. Ooh, it's a little loud. Let's see. How's the volume, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, 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 ha, yeah. Hey, 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 ha. I said AA, today's a day. Darwin's birthday, it's Darwin Day. How should we celebrate the legacy of Darwin? How about killing some kids who are starving? That'd be a way to apply it. Hey yo, Darwinism, don't even try it. It's nasty, I don't buy it. We could not evolve. There's a problem of creation, and the atheist cannot solve it. It's like a puzzle. My dog's in the back, hey yo, give him that muzzle. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. What do we speak about? Egypt, Kemet. Yes, I respect Jabari, but G Kon was hating. I'm sorry. Excuse him. I'm an apologist, so I offer an apology. But you gotta step those sources up, calling me. I'll help you out, most deaf, no doubt. We in the house, hey yo, time to shake it out, work it out. But we spit in this verse shit. Vocab Malone, sick, I need a nursing. No cursing, dispersing the gospel everywhere. Includes the Trinity, I speak it to the air. None can compare, rare so don't dare. Vocab Malone and I'm all in there. Yes, yes, y'all, and I won't insult ya. Like guess, calling people culture vulture. It's all good, grow up, be an adult, sir. And so now we blazing, shout out to Eric Mason, the pastor, the rapper. So I read the chapter, coming at ya. Here we go, I'm gonna bash ya. Not your skull, just your bad theology. Here we go again. This is ecology, meaning a study of the environment. Hey, yo, Vocab Malone, I'm not lying, kid. This is the truth. This is the realness. Hey, yo, this beat is tight. Soko, I can feel this. All right, that's verse 1. Now it's verse 2. All right, let's do. Was the volume good, everybody? It's one freestyle, but since the beat is so short, I'm going to do 2. All right, so here we go. I didn't get to all the topics, but I'm trying to get to the other topics now, all right? Hey, I love you guys, by the way. Most of you. All right, round 2. Ah, yes. Here we go. Grab the beat. Ah, jump up. Ah, out your seat. Come on. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Shout out to Shield Squad. Shout out to Cherry. Shout out to myself, they call me Vocabulary. Shout out to Larry, who's that? I don't know. Shout out to the producer named Jonathan Soko. Peep this out, I see it with my eye. The live chat, I discussed the BHI today. Yes, y'all, even sarkari. Why did they name their sect after that? I don't know. Why? Porque that's a bad movement. Thanks to Soko for this ill type of music. So we will prove it with the real sources. Check this out now. I don't divorce this Bible from its culture, not a culture vulture. I rock the microphone, and now I won't be a stalker like a dude online. Peep this out now from the top of the mind. God, peep this out, he is divine. By definition, that means he's divinity. You deny Jesus, you deny the Trinity. I'm not feeling the people who do that, but I come through with this new rap over boom bap music. Really, it's a little bit of trap. I got the black hat, they call it the polo. I bring the fire like Jonathan Soko. Puts it in the chokehold, metaphysically speaking. This beat is so ill, ISUPK has a light-skinned Puerto Rican, but we can still be friends. Hey yo, what's up now? Turn the beat up to 10. We will get the win, that's the ill W. Hey yo, excuse me, let me trouble you about the gospel when I do evangelism. I grab the beat, spray paint, call me vandalism. That's how I put the brand new words. Hey, what's up to the live chat? Bird is a word. I'm going out English, not Farsi. What's up, my man in the chat? B. Garcia. Ah. All right, y'all. I think that's pretty much it. It was fun. Gerard Perry with the party. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Anybody else? Yeah, I think we got everybody. So here's what I'm gonna do, everybody. I am going to. By the way, Michelle Marie, I see you in the super chat. Much love on that. Let me give a shout out to all the super chatters right now before we jam out here. All right. Shout out to Nate D. New, Black Keepers of the Critique, Catford Linda Clark. I'm sorry I never gave you a shout out yet. D. New 2 times. Nathan Peterson for real. Ham Sunshine. Michelle Marie 2 times. Boom, boom. Much love to all of y'all. You guys are good folks, good people. Listen. I'm going to drop another video upload tomorrow that is going to deal a little bit more with Darwinism type stuff. And I think you guys will enjoy that. And then Thursday, we got an interview planned with Mike Winger. Don't have Friday, Saturday, Sunday planned out just yet. But I also might try to do something about love or something like that if I can find it, because Valentine's Day coming up and I talk about biblical love. But I'm not sure. I think I already have some videos on that. And then also, what I was going to say, I'm going to do another installment of the Black church history stuff I've been doing sometime this weekend. So, hey, yo, G Kon. Tell people peace out. We are done.
All right, well, grace and peace to y'all out there. Appreciate y'all tuning in for this long. I know it's late on the East Coast. It's kind of late over here. Love y'all. You know what I'm saying? And, peace.
All right, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. Let's play that outro. Where'd it go? There it is. Boom, 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 boom.
Turn your radio up. Whoa. Radio time. Whoa. You're now listening to Street Apologist. Street Apologist.